Hey everybody. Welcome to another BacklogBusters episode where we're going to look at the SuperStation One again. I think I've got everything set up. It took me a while to get some of the things we're going to test today, so hopefully this will be problem-free. I had a bunch of problems yesterday, so we'll see if that holds true. But first thing I wanted to show has nothing to do with, I guess, the SuperStation itself. I've been working on this all weekend because I was very inspired by the PlayStation 1 ONE version of the SuperStation and wanted to see if I could make a little tiny screen for it. So let's see my top-down view here. So here's the nice little shell, and then if I can get this to zoom out like I intended, I've 3D printed a little screen holder for it that will play all your games and display things out like that. It's got a hinge on it, so you can fold it forward, and then it becomes a nice little SuperStation unit here. It has nice rubber feet on the bottom, screws that go in here. It can come apart, so if you want to like raise this up or put a different screen on it, you can use this base to put anything you want in there. I just made this little screen to attach to it because this is what I had laying around for a Raspberry Pi project, and it just routes, it goes off USB power to power the screen and then HDMI in, and so it's kind of a nice little portable thing to take MiSTer on the go. I still have a few modifications I want to make to it, like the screws here are visible and they go through on the back. It's a little wobbly in places, but for the most part it attaches and is cool. So this is the first time I've spent a lot of time trying to 3D model something that would actually be used in any way, shape, or form that wasn't just for like storing Game Boy cards. So I've got to change some things, but I will host these files up if anybody wants to do this and list this specific screen. So it's a fun little weekend project. I haven't taken the screen film off on this, so you'll kind of see the bubbles up there. But it is a cool little screen, and I like the fact that it is the form factor that it would be cool to be able to have a little portable thing on here. So I'm very proud of this. I don't know how much people will care about it, but I think it's cool that you can set stuff up like this. I'll probably have to redesign this whenever the actual dock comes out and uses these screw holes to attach the unit in. But I still thought that was cool. I wanted to show it off because I'm proud of it. But yeah, let's talk about the SuperStation One in general. Let's go to the split view. Wait, no, this one. Some people had requested showing the SuperStation One gameplay and then the top-down view at the same time. So I'm going to try to do that as much as I can, so you can just see what ports are in it and what's going on with it here. And I will try to gently pop this screen off. I had made it so that these feet could come out. We'll see how true that is. I guess I could just unscrew the whole bottom. That would make more sense, wouldn't it? That'd be quicker to do. But if anybody has questions or things they specifically want to see, let me know. And these screw holes are like pretty intense because they are supposed to hold the dock in. So this was like a really easy thing to dial in once I actually figured out what the screws were. And they're just basic M4 screws, which I probably should have guessed, but I just didn't have any handy to actually test it myself. So we'll put that screen away, move these screws out of the way, and put this over here. And then talk through some of this stuff. So here's our little SuperStation One. I guess the small recap, anybody who's joining that doesn't know what this is, it is the SuperStation One by Taki Udon. It is an FPGA console, which is meant to reprogram itself to basically pretend to be a console. You're programming the individual chips of a console, so it should be highly accurate. And that's kind of the nice thing about FPGA is I have a little bit of trust in it that these things are accurate and play really well. There are conflicting reports on whether or not software emulation versus basically hardware emulation like this is truly better, but I really like it, especially for the fact that SuperStation One has the PlayStation 1 memory card ports in here. It has the controller ports in here. It has analog output that I can do for composite. It has S-Video, or not S-Video. This is the GunCon port. It has S-Video on the side here. On the other side, it has the component outputs as well. And then it has on the very back VGA and then a DIN 10 port, which I did get a bunch of DIN 10 connectors since the last live stream. So if we want to see some of those, if anyone's interested in seeing a specific one, I know one person had requested seeing SCART output on it, which I can do SCART output into a conversion box, but I don't have a TV that can do SCART, but we could at least touch on some of that stuff that we can run through just to show what all this thing can do. What I also wanted to show is I got a bunch of new GunCons in. So I think last stream I had only a GunCon 1. I now have a GunCon 2 and a GunCon 3 to test out. The 2 so far I have not gotten to work. That could be I need to take it back to eBay and do a return because it hasn't worked yet. Or it could be that there's just something I'm missing on here. But we'll go through that troubleshooting. And then I also have some racing wheels and a fight stick and all different things that we can test on here. And I want to show some of the ways we can connect this stuff to the console and things to test on there. So let me pull up my list and we'll go through the items I wanted to show. I do have CRTs, not the full CRT wall from last time, but I do have CRTs to demonstrate some of the output capabilities of this that are hooked up and I will show later. Okay, first thing I wanted to show was just different real controllers. So let me grab those real quick. This first one is one that I've never seen before. It is this weird wheel controller. We can go to like full top down to show this. The Ultra Racer, and it has this weird little knob on it that turns for you to race. These seem to be pressure sensitive, like mega buttons on the front here. A weird D-pad where everything's spread out and a smiley face for this. L1 R, like the placement of these all seem very strange. And then it has this little trigger, which seems to be the acceleration. I do not remember when I tested it if going backwards does reverse and this is gas. I don't know what the two-step stick is. Like, there are a lot of things on here that I don't fully understand with it. But a friend of mine said that he had this in storage and wanted me to play with it because he thought I'd get some use out of it, which is perfect timing because I wanted to test stuff out on the SuperStation and just see compatibility. I will turn off. I have another MiSTer running alongside this, the MiSTer multi-system, in case we want to do any comparison. But right before this stream, it was shutting down several times. So I hope in the storm last night, nothing messed up with it. And maybe we'll just stay on the SuperStation and not mess with it in general. But okay, we have this plugged in to the Snac port, and I think if I push, you might be able to hear a little beep in there. So it does have this little set button, which seems to be to program something on here. I don't really care about that. It was just nice to know that it did connect on first try. And let's see. Right now, I have this 8-bit DO controller hooked up here, but you see I'm getting no movement in here, and that is because if I pull up this menu, I have, or should have, it all on Snac port 1, Snac port 2, Snac memory card real, and MultiTap off. So these are the settings that I had saved in here that should be active, so we'll go look and see if anything shows up for the memory card. Forget I have to use this thing, and A button? That's also weird because that's not what PlayStation is. And here is my biggest issue with the SuperStation 1 so far. I have largely had a great time with this, but I cannot get it to detect either of the memory cards that I was using on my PlayStation 1. This Mad Catz memory card or this 8-bit mods memory card Pro 2. It won't detect that at all. I know on the Taki Udon Discord, he's talked about that there's a problem with these and they're trying to figure it out, but it might be that 8-bit mods has to do a update for the memory card Pro 2. I would still be interested. I think the issue still happens for memory card Pro 1. This is the memory card Pro 2, which is supposed to have compatibility with the PS1 and PS2. Memory card Pro 1 was only PS1, but I've heard it still has issues with one of these. So I don't have one to test, but that is something to keep in mind. That as of now, no one has seemed to be able to get any of the Memory Card Pro models working on this. And the other thing I'll show is just, this is a very cheap, like $4.99 memory card I got from a game exchange. And nothing. It did work on stream at one point. I cannot get it to work again. Let me see if I can still mouse through these menus. Yep, I can still move through them, but it doesn't detect it. I've seen varying reports on whether or not the memory cards are... Ugh. This Mad Catz one is a really tight fit. This memory card that I got for $5 is a really loose fit, but even switching the spots, I don't see any difference in them. And if I back out and come back in, it doesn't load anything. And they both are connected and working, and I literally have a PlayStation 1 here that we can turn on if we want to confirm that, but I continue to have memory card issues with this. And this is actually a new card image that I made based off the initial card that came with the device and then put a bunch of ROMs on. I have another card set up that I ran update all on that has not, has stopped detecting Snac controller ports. So I would say if you get one of these, maybe stick with the built-in SD card for a while. It seems like running update all causes some issues, at least on my end. I was seeing other people able to run it fine, like Pixel Cherry Ninja, Bob from Retro RGB. They all seem to have no issues with it, and I didn't have issues at first, but now I seemingly am. The one other thing I wanted to show about memory cards, I guess, before we move into the race wheel, is the MultiTap. So I got the PS1 MultiTap just to see, like, hey, does this support multiple controllers? And I didn't realize this has memory card ports on it. It blocks the top port. So if you'll see here, it has a little notch on the top of it here that actually blocks you from inserting a memory card into this spot. Like, it actually blocks you from putting one in here because it takes that port. And the thing, we'll see if it still works, that I saw was if I plugged a memory card into this, there are my saves. All these saves that were on this memory card the whole time, and this will not detect, work immediately the second I plug it into the MultiTap. I do not know why this is. It is very confusing to me that normally this card is not detected. I can do the same thing. I can pull it out of this, pull this out, put the memory card into this slot, and it freezes up the menu if you are if it is reading from the card. Like, you can't move anything around. So I will just show that, like, I can still move around. So it is not like in the process of loading this or doing anything. I don't know if it's a problem with like the connection in here or what, but it's very interesting to me that I can take this exact same card, plug it into the MultiTap, switch this out, put the MultiTap in, even put my controller in, and when I run it from this, I get all my memory cards. So I am not sure. More people are getting their SuperStation Ones every day now. So maybe this is something that will kind of work itself out, or maybe people will find a fix to it. It's kind of why I'd returned to my like starter card and then made a copy of it and put it on a larger one so I could fit some games on there. But interesting, I haven't seen anybody else have this pronounced issue. Even Bob from Retro RGB was testing it recently. I watched that live stream, and he was able to plug a it looked like a kind of gray memory card, but it's the one that has a big blocky label on it that's dark and maybe has a button to switch. Like, it is a third-party memory card that he was testing as far as I could tell. I didn't see him mention the card. That worked fine for him. So it could be an issue with my unit. It could be an issue with me running update all. It could be an issue with me updating something. But I'd love for this to get sorted out just because it is a nice feature to have. It is not the most important feature. And I will show if this is my, again, just random Mad Catz memory card that I had when I was given my PlayStation. And then if I do a Memory Card Pro 2 into this, the screen will turn on. And as I saw earlier, hopefully it does this for me, it'll start and go to like 6, and then it'll back out. And it will restart the card, turn the screen off, start loading my Croc saves, turn off, and it just does that over and over. So interesting things about the memory cards. This memory card maybe could just be fried now. I couldn't get it to read earlier. We'll see if it does now. Nope, this cheap memory card may just be dead now. I haven't tried it on the PlayStation 1 since last testing it here, but just some weirdness about memory cards. Anyways, let's go look at some controllers and look at the positives of this console, because from connecting other accessories that are not memory cards, I have had great success with this console and been very excited to test all the stuff out. So let's pull up our little menu here. And actually, you know, I'll go, what would be a good one to test? Oh, you know, hold on, sorry. Before I do that, sticking with the MultiTap, I forgot to even think about this earlier. But if I plug MultiTap in, I wonder if it works with the PocketStation, because I have this because I thought it was a cool Dreamcast-like thing. I forget what the release timeline on these, if these came first or second, but this would not work in the SuperStation One. It would light up, but it wouldn't detect anything. And I did load saves on all of these things, so they should populate. I think I loaded. I hope I wasn't lying about that. There we go. Okay, Tony Hawk Pro Skater, Croc. So I did load some saves. So even the PocketStation works using the MultiTap, but my SuperStation One has yet to read Mad Catz, PocketStation, or Memory Card Pro. The Memory Card Pro isn't read by anything, but these two work on MultiTap while nothing else does. So again, it saves to the console and to the micro SD card. So you are not missing out on functionality. And I can even go and I could back up these saves through other means or use the MultiTap. I could get these saves off of my device. I could put the Memory Card Pro 2 into my PlayStation, copy the saves off these ones, and then grab the files and put them on my SuperStation. So like, it is not a big loss for me to not have access to these memory cards because I've largely got virtual ways to get them onto my console, but it is still a little odd that the MultiTap solves almost all my memory card issues, where the SuperStation One currently cannot. But that is enough with that. On a more positive note, let us plug in some controllers and actually go test some games with this. Do I have a good racing game on here? I'm getting a little confused at what SD cards I have because I've been switching them all around. Let's see. Do I have just like a Ridge Racer? Yeah. Let's see what this looks like. And I will keep an eye on the audio levels because I don't know what this would be like. If anybody has questions about like certain things you'd want me to test, let me know. My general thing right now is I'm going to try to go through the different controllers I have and test those to just show compatibility with stuff and maybe any like call outs on it. And then we'll go from there on to some reflex adapters and some different accessories I want to try just to show why I think this is cool and flexible with everything that it can do. Let's see. Have we had... I got a little sparkle of audio in here, so hopefully that will start to come through. Okay. Yeah, let me know if any of those audio levels are like too crazy. It seems like it's pretty low right now, so hopefully that's not a concern, but okay. I'll hit the start button to go to the menu and we'll see how this works. I tried Colin McRae Rally earlier just to test it. I get no movement off left and right with this currently. I get my up and down. It seemed like mainly this D-pad is what you use to navigate the menus. It is so odd to me that they split it into weird things here. But let's go. Do I hit start? Yeah, I hit start. This is like, I think supposed to be kind of used one hand and then you keep another hand on the wheel here. But it is just very odd placements that I can't fully reach this D-pad, probably because I have small hands. Let's just try to get... I'm just mashing start through this. Let's see if we can get through and like just do an actual race. Okay. Yep. Did anybody ever use this controller? Is this like a known thing that I've just never seen before? I remember growing up that one friend of mine, his dad had a like full racing wheel for the PlayStation. And I always thought that was cool, but I've never seen one of those racing wheels for like full racing wheels for the PlayStation in person since then. So I don't know how common those were. And I do have that, like this is just coming out HDMI. I have two USB adapters, one for this keyboard and one for this hooked in. And then we've got this plugged into the Snac port in the front. So let's see if I pull the trigger. Yep, we are getting movement. And if I push it back, that is seemingly the brake. And I pull it again, and that does that. What hand would I steer with? Maybe my right hand, that seems more comfortable. I was kind of surprised. Again, I plugged this into Colin McRae the other day just to test it, and I was kind of it's actually like feels pretty good. The only thing I don't get is the like how to brake reliably, and I think that might be what these B buttons here are for, because extending my finger out here feels weird, especially when I hook my finger in. It's like stuck. It's like a pinch maneuver to hold me in there. So I think that's what these are for, to be brakes. Something there that will actually like feel a little better. So I'm gonna play this horribly, but I do think it's still very interesting, this controller. Also, because of the age of this, I'm very thankful to my friend who gave this to me, and it is in very good condition, but it's just, the age of this is that this foam on the wheel is deteriorating. So like every time I touch it, I can feel pieces coming off of the controller, which is not the most satisfying feel. So I'm wondering if I can get like a little plastic, or honestly, now that I know how to 3D print a tiny bit, maybe I could make a little wheel to hold it or something like that. But it's actually like feels pretty good to play, and I am so surprised because this seemed like a funny gimmick that you would never want to play with. Granted, is this a good thing? Because I'm playing horribly, as y'all can see. It might not be as good for these like arcade. It might be closer to like a better for the subtle movements of like a half simulator, that you don't want to be behind a wheel, but you still want some control. But I still think it's a very silly and surprisingly good working controller that kind of makes you think, I would maybe take one of these in modern day. I'd be interested in trying this in more games. The other thing I'm going to try later is I have a reflex adapter, which should detect most controllers being plugged in, and I'd like to see what this comes back as. Is this just like a DualShock input? They might not even have control for it, I don't know, or it may show up as like an NGCon or something like that. But yeah, this is the little racing wheel controller on here. It does have a wild amount of spring. Like if you let go, it really snaps back into place. I know I'm running into a wall here, but... And how do you back up in this game? I don't know. I may be trapped against this wall. Okay, there we go. But yeah, it's a very cool controller. Kind of silly. Kind of works better than you would expect, except for, again, the drifting might not be. This doesn't seem like this is meant for the drifts, but let me see if I can even pull one off that. Or do you have to hit the brake? I'm forgetting all about how you even play Ridge Racer because I'm playing on a very different controller. Yep, okay, there's that. I am like, I don't know if you can see the dust on my fingers from this. Let's see. Not Ryan Fleming. Or sorry, Fallen Rascal, Ridge Racer Type 4, awesome. Yeah, this was one of the ones I found in stores that I was like, I think people like this game. I'm surprised this is hanging around. It come with like a whole nother disc of stuff on it. It's very cool. Not Ryan Fleming says, love the concept of demonstrating lots of PS1 accessories with SS1. I bought a GunCon and NGCon. Yeah, I want to try one of those NGCon. That's the twisting controller, right? On eBay in anticipation of my Founders Edition arriving. Yeah, do you know when you're supposed to ship? I think on Retro RGB's podcast, Taki was on there saying that he's hoping to get all batches done by the end of the month. It's aiming for that. I think that's what he said, if I'm remembering correctly, but the end of the month seems soon. Not Ryan Fleming, I'm very hopeful that Taki will eventually develop a sort of snack pass-through so the GunCon can be used for arcade light gun cores. So I'd be interested if he makes that. I will demonstrate that later if I can get it working, because supposedly for CRTs, you can get the GunCon 1 and GunCon 2 working through the Reflex adapter or through USB. I've had bad success with it when I was testing all that last night, but the GunCon 3 does work extremely well with all cores that I've tested, and it doesn't use Snac or anything. So it'd be cool if Taki did that. The Reflex adapter supposedly will work for it, but we'll see. Fallen Rascal, oh yeah, gonna need some GunCons. Looks real smooth. Let off brake as turning, and then the throttle. I was watching the vid. It was defo confirmed for the what Taki was talking about all of them being shipped out by the end of March. So I really hope that's true. That would be great. And then supposedly we'd just be waiting on, I'm going to try to do one drift on here. Hopefully we'd just be waiting on the dock to finalize. I know the last thing I saw in the Discord was like, there were 100 units or something like that that were in their hands and they were assembling or like starting to assemble to get like initial stuff on there. So hopefully those are coming soon, and then people who didn't split their bundles, which is like a short time frame that I almost missed on my end as well, will get the full set soon, because I'm very excited to have the actual Snac pass through and be able to use my like Snac 64 and everything all together. That will be really nice. Okay, let off the throttle and do that. Okay, I didn't do it enough there. I also wonder what happens if I... Oh, so this switch on the side seems to be the shift, that while I'm driving, I'm going kind of slow here, and then I shift this. No, I may be wrong about that. Never mind, that does nothing. Ignore me. I thought I went faster for a second when I pulled that switch. It did not do that. I still don't know if I can pull off this drift. The like immediacy of pulling the trigger is not as close as I thought it would be. Like it isn't super quick, so I wonder if I'm losing some of the ability to drift because I just can't pull this trigger fast enough, but... Oh, there we go, there we go. Okay, I just need a longer pause. So it is possible. It just goes against my limited muscle memory for this game to have to do it that way. Hold on just a second. Okay, excuse me. Now, let me catch up on this real quick. Not Ryan Fleming, exactly. The twisting controller is the NG. Sorry, how do you say it? The NeoGeo? I don't know how you pronounce it. It hasn't shipped yet. Still marked unfulfilled for Not Ryan Fleming for the gray version. Interesting. I wonder if that will happen. Because, yeah, I haven't seen the grays in the wild anywhere, but I hope it is actually shipping soon. I also wonder, because, like, this one's set in shipped, quote-unquote, status, but it seemed to be, like, in between them processing it. So I wonder if that would be the date of, like, by the end of March, these are out of Taki's door, and with the shipping provider, which still took, like, a week plus for them to actually move this through their network, like, to even... basically the thing where it's like, oh, we have your tracking number, or we have your package, but we haven't put it on a truck yet or an airplane or anything. So I wonder if that would be the deadline. If it's like, hey, these will be out the door and ready, but it's still up to 4PX or whatever to like process them for a week and then get them out. So we'll see. Fallen Rascal does say they've seen the black and the wild, but not the gray. Oh, that's cool. And yes, everything was okay. Sorry, my partner just needed her study stuff out of this room. So it's a good time to stream while she's working through that. I just trapped it all in this room where I'm streaming right now. Let's see. Incognito Man. Hey, how you doing? Yours comes in tomorrow. That's so exciting. I can't wait to hear you actually having fun with it, and maybe you can take a second to like, you know, enjoy it before you get to troubleshooting everyone's questions for you. You can have one moment of peace before you go back to like trying to solve everybody's tech issues. Okay, another controller I was wanting to try. Actually, because this will be shorter. We'll go with a different. Okay, so this one was in nasty conditions, but this is the, what is it? Fission, like I guess fission, but fish. Fishing controller. It has the fun like reeling sound that you can get in the background, which I appreciate. It has a stick that while I was trying to clean this kind of broke, so it now spins freely, which is probably not ideal, but it does still work. Has these mode and program buttons. I have no idea what they do. I could not find a way to locate a manual for this or how it's used at all. I guess the manual might be in the fishing game that it was supposedly packaged with. I didn't think about that. But you do have these mode switches that go between red and green. Don't know what those do. And supposedly this only works, as far as I was reading, with one specific game, which I hope I have remembered to load onto here. What does this do in Ridge Racer? Nothing good. Okay. Just nothing at all. Okay, let's load. So supposedly this only worked with real fishing, and that's what it was developed for. So let's try to load that. Not Ryan Fleming. The Grays went into production last. Oh, I need to reset this now that I've changed the disk. The Grays went into production last. They just ticked off to the they just ticked over the earliest orders shipping on the dashboard yesterday or the day before. Okay, good. I'm glad those are moving, and hopefully they're moving quickly. Incognito Man, I've never seen that controller. I was surprised to find this, and then even more surprised to see that it maybe doesn't work with a lot of games. It's an interesting one. It was also nasty inside this controller when I was trying to clean it. So like some of the problems with it may be due to it just being old and possibly bad, but like the start and the stick, those things work. Having this stick spin freely is a nightmare. It feels horrible to control that way, but let's start a new game. Let's see. Incognito Man, watch with my luck when I get my unit, set it up and start debugging the MCP. It just works and I can't replicate everyone's problems. Yeah, that is part of my worry, because in the back of my head, I'm like, oh no, is there something wrong with specifically this unit, or like an early firmware and the new ones are loaded with a new different firmware or something, or a new version of MiSTer? Because I saw Bob from Retro RGB trying to determine like what version of the cores were in this and everything. So very interested to see what happens. But I truly hope you have, like, as much as the troubleshooting would help, I hope you have zero problems. I hope that I'm the only one having memory card problems. That would be fine with me because I've got other ways to do it. I just want it to be easier. Okay, I think we're loading into this. Not Ryan Fleming, Fish Racer. I wish you could accelerate doing this. So the thing, I think this is a motion controller, but I cannot fully tell. So you can use the stick to move this around, and I don't know what weird thing is happening on the screen. It looks like it's a combination of like still photography and like some weird photo merge or something that's like heavily interlaced. It's a strange thing to look at. It does not look real to me as they say it is. And so when I was trying the different buttons, I could have sworn, oh, see, something happened. Oh, I did hit the button at the same time. I thought that this was detecting something. Okay, and here we go into here, so I can reel, and it like pulls that up way too quick, so I can't do anything. Okay, the button just throws it. I could have sworn there were some motion controls on this, but maybe I was just perfectly hitting things at the right time. Okay, so supposedly I can like slowly reel in and things to get this to like drift through the water. I have not managed to catch a fish yet on this game, but it does seem to somewhat function. Nope, nothing. Because I don't even know how to pull up in this game. I don't know what the... And then this was the other problem I ran into with this. You have select tackle because it says my bait was lost. So when I select it, I don't know how I like confirm. I don't know. And then it says to tie my bait, but I don't know what button on this controller. Oh, wait, it might have been triangle ties the bait? Okay, is that it? Okay. Okay. You know, maybe I was shaking this thing so hard when I thought it was a motion control and I was accidentally moving the stick and that made me think that's how it worked. So I'm just moving my hands around. Who knows if this works? And just like, I can't get over what this game looks like. It is so strange to me. Okay, so supposedly we're going into deep water. Okay. And so I should be able to like... I have no idea. Okay, resume fishing. Like, why does a menu pull up when I flick this? I guess it could also be that this wire is super frayed. This may not be a motion controller. It may just be half broken and I am shaking it absent-mindedly and it is like causing it some stress that then I think it is happening. But the fishing controller does seem to work. What I don't know is if this is just a bad game or a bad fishing controller. So let's see if we can get, oh, come on, one fish. And like, this must be fast moving water because I have very little time in there. I guess I could try to, okay, resume fishing. Can I like line this up here? I don't know. Fallen Rascal. Yes, this is like a weird Philips CDI game. Yes, that is a great way to describe it. Incognito Man, this is such a weird game. Yes, completely agree. It is nothing like the excitement I had from getting the Dreamcast fishing controller. Okay, the Dreamcast fishing controller being used as like a motion controller and having like really fun fishing games for it was much more enjoyable than this. Do I have another fishing game loaded on here? I don't think I do because I think... Okay, yeah, let's try this. Let's try Bass Rise and see if it works with another game. Oh, thank you, Incognito Man. There are apparently 19 games that work with that controller. That's a way high number than I expected. I wonder if this is one of them. And again, there could just be problems with this controller because it is like the shielding is gone on this and this is like kind of ripped up. And now I'm really thinking that I was shaking this enough to move the stick and that made me think it was more than it was. But let's see if Bass Rise does anything for this. I also tried, I don't remember which one, it was like maybe monster fishing or something like that, or monster bass, where you had like spiders on the hook and you would throw out like critters and stuff, which seemed horrifying. And I chose not to demo it and then forgot what the game was called. So hopefully it's not this one. Custom technology, the God's Dimension 3D water. I've got a lot of questions about what that's telling me. Wait, is this the one? Is this the one I was thinking of? It might be. If this has spiders, I'm so sorry. These look like normal fish. Okay, so hopefully this is not the one I'm thinking of. So I just do left and right to choose a point. No motion controls, so it's probably just reeling and that's it. Oh my gosh, this has a motion controller on it, or a vibration motor on it. And I lost the fish. This is a much more exciting game. This is what I was expecting, like a big bass fishing or something to... Move rod. Oh, I have to use the stick in conjunction with... Okay, okay, my bad, my bad. How much does that come through the mic? That seems extremely annoying. Now I'm confused if this actually... Because it's not moving when I do this. But I can hit the triangle button and it moves. Does this actually reel in? I don't think this actually is doing it. Because my line tension... I'm actually not sure if this reel works. like hitting the triangle button, I am reeling the fish in. Supposedly it went off screen and maybe that cord just busted. Nope, that was just a transition to this scene. So I'd say right now, this may be either broken. It is vibrating a lot. For this wriggling fish. This is not my favorite thing I played for the PS1, that's for sure. The Dreamcast fishing rod, maybe in better working condition, I've enjoyed a lot more than this one, but maybe I'm using it wrong. Who knows what the mode button does, if I have to turn that on to do it. Maybe I'll find a manual that will tell me how to use this in the future, but let's go try the other thing I wanted to do. This arcade stick that I found in a local game exchange. I thought this looked cool because it looks almost exactly like a PlayStation 1. I don't know why they wanted this to look like the console, especially because it is larger than the console itself. Its footprint is like a teeny bit bigger than the entire console of the PlayStation 1 that it fits out on, but it's very fun. So like, even if I didn't like this stick, which I do, I think it's just cool that it looks like the console. Like, why? It also has so many fun, satisfying turbo buttons that you can switch between in here, which I'll not be using for these purposes. It would probably be good in a vertical shooting game. So let's plug this in and see how this goes. And out of all the controllers that I've tried so far, this one I've had the most fun with. I think this one is like, I've never had a fight stick, and getting a cheap one for PlayStation 1 to be able to test this and just get to play with one, it's pretty cool. And it has, I don't know if this is normal, it probably is. It has a metal base, so it's like very nice and weighty and holds to the desk, and it has the click. I don't know if you can hear the, like the stick is pretty clicky as you like move it around, which it's pretty satisfying. These may be all normal arcade things that I'm just not aware of. So forgive me if that's repeating, just like, yeah, that's basic stuff. Let's see. What would be a good, probably like a fighting game, right? Like a Tekken. Let's try that. Let's see. Fallen Rascal, love to see the light gun in Die Hard. I think that should hopefully be in the list because I was intending on playing Die Hard on there. Again, Fallen Rascal says, I was getting owned by that fish. Yeah, definitely. These fish are too good for me. They did not want to be caught, and I am no good at it. Let's see. Oh, Incognito Man says, oh, sorry, it looks like 10 games are supported by that controller. Some others it works with are on PS2. Interesting stuff, though. Yeah, I was having a lot of trouble figuring out which ones worked with it. And then that was my question, too, is like, did it technically work in some games, but you have to do some extra steps to get it to function? Because it didn't seem to be reeling in there. I'm not too sure. Okay, let's just do, I guess we can do arcade mode. Oh, okay, I already hit the button multiple times. Let's see. Fallen Rascal says, not seen one of those in a while. It looks cool. So you have seen one of these. Okay. I didn't know how common these were. I was just excited when I was looking for PS1 accessories that they just had one I'd never seen and the first fight stick I own. Incognito Man says that thing looks awesome. Most PS1 sticks I've come across have a metal base, but they've yet to see that variant locally. Yeah, I'm very excited for this thing. Also, I'll show it with the Reflex adapter. I was most excited to play this with like a bunch of other cores in here, and then it's pretty easy to hook up because it's just the normal buttons. There's no special functionality. Okay, let's see me lose in this really quickly because I don't really know how to play fighting games. What I was mainly excited for this for was arcade games and things. Would seem like they'd be cool. Is Tekken do you do circles on this, or is this like directions? Well, I guess.
You win. Round 2. Fight.
I also wonder, okay, so here's our X, and if we turn turbo mode on and turn it to turbo, let's see if we can just win a match by just holding the turbo down.
You win.
I've just got turbo on now, so we'll see. It also has the slow mode, which I believe is like what they had on NES and stuff, to where it would just pause and unpause the game really quickly. So I'm not touching this thing right now. Let's see if I slow down. There's auto turbo. Oh, sorry. So this might be the... Oh, that's for art. I see. Okay. Oh, I am getting beat up by this, but... There's your turbo mode. You can just set this down and let it win. This is like, it seems like the type of thing I would leave this overnight to unlock Mewtwo in Super Smash Bros. Melee or something. Like, just leave this on turbo mode and win the matches. Is that something people do? But yeah, I'm awful at fighting games, but I do think this is very cool, mainly for what I would want to use it for, which would be, let me see if I have a good one on here, but like just a classic side-scrolling shooter or side-scrolling game in general seems like it'd be pretty fun to do. Let's see, we do have Strider. Let's hold one of these up and see what that looks like. Oh yeah, not Ryan Fleming. I don't think I read this one yet. Some PS1 light gun games aren't compatible with GunCon. Time Crisis or Point Blank games should work fine. Is that the Justifier gun that I was seeing that maybe needed like a patch or something to go in, that you need a different type of light gun and the GunCon is not the one it works with? I wonder if some of that is alleviated by MiSTer already. I'd seen some mention of like patching games to work with Justifier, but now I can't remember if Justifier is a PlayStation 1 or a different thing. So let's see. How does this work for Strider? Another game that I have not played much of. How loud is this? It is spiking the levels a little bit there, so seems decently loud, but... No, that's not... Okay, there's my... And let's see, if I do triangle turbo mode... Look! I'm unstoppable in this. Okay, I'll turn turbo mode off. But yeah, I was very excited to see this, and honestly, the MiSTer seems like the perfect thing because you can easily plug it in to a bunch of different cores with the Reflex adapter. I guess technically you could get the Reflex adapter and plug that into your PC and do that as well, but I sometimes feel a little limited by Snac of just like, oh, I can only use it in one core, but the Reflex adapter has been really cool to let me walk into stores where I see cool accessories, and I'm like, you know, I might be able to try that. Even for consoles I don't have physically in my home, I might be able to try those accessories just by setting it up. There's me losing at Strider some, but yeah, this thing is really cool, and maybe all of that is due to I've never had a fight stick before, and this was a cheap one that also does the dual ability of showing off the MiSTer and looking like a weird PlayStation 1. It even has the ridges on the side. Like, why would they build this to look so much like the PlayStation 1? It's so strange to me, but I love it. Let's see, what other controllers did I have that I wanted to test on here? Where's my note? I think that's it, other than I was interested, if we pull the MultiTap, and let's see, I may not have, this may be due in part to me not, or like having the issues before this that didn't fully connect, so let me try. So if we use the MultiTap, supposedly this PocketStation has support for certain games and would load up some little mini games. So I think I have not Beat Mania. Should be Dance Dance Revolution. Like 3, 4, or 5 supposedly supported the PocketStation and had only in Japanese, which I think these DDRs only were in Japan. Supposedly you can play a little DDR minigame on the PocketStation when you, I don't know, use it in this game. I've never played a game on the PocketStation, so we'll see if we can get this to happen. Because again, the PocketStation is working with the MultiTap. It can read my memory cards. My memory cards only work via MultiTap and nowhere else. So we'll see. Oh gosh. I need to get Google Translate out. Okay. I did no, yes, no, no. Yes, no. Yes, yes. Well, hold on. Let me get my phone and try to try to translate this, and I'll catch up on some of these. Let's see. Fallen Rascal says, I've seen those here in the UK. There's a PS1 has a massive market, or it had one back in the day. Yeah, I don't know that I was going into a bunch of game stores when the PS1 is out or something. Like, I truly do not remember this. Let's see. Fallen Rascal, take that primitive AI. Yeah, they can't stand up against repeated kicks like that. Incognito Man, yeah, the Reflex Adapt is amazing. Yeah, I really appreciate it. I love the Snac just because of like it supports all controllers, but the Reflex Adapt just throwing anything to USB, really, really cool. Way more impressed with it than I thought I would be. And I thought someone had mentioned, is there a Reflex 2 in development or something? I feel like I saw a Reflex with the number 2 behind it somewhere recently, and I didn't know if that was just me misreading or if that is something that's happening, that they're making another version of it. Let's reset this, see if one of these others will load. Not Ryan Fleming, not sure about which compatibility issues have already been fixed by MiSTer Patches, but an original hardware GunCon works with Namco games and then only select games from other developers. Okay. That, I was slightly confused when I saw that GunCon said Namco on the side, because I thought GunCon was just a PlayStation brand. Like it's so closely associated with PlayStation. I thought it was an official Sony light gun. So when I saw Namco on the side, I was slightly confused by that. But I think that's just down to me not knowing much about it. Okay, let's see. Okay, try to translate this. Japanese to English. What do you say? No system data. Do you want to create one? Yes. And what's this say? Yes, Japanese to English. Do you want to start this way? Yeah. Oh, right. Isn't the circle button the confirm button on Japanese PlayStations? So I was just hitting the wrong one. Okay, that was you, Incognito Man, that mentioned there was a Reflex 2. Where have you seen posts about this? I was trying to search it around the internet and I couldn't find any like posting for it, but maybe I was just searching the wrong place, because I am very excited for that, especially if it could hold more memory in there, or like you could customize, like I'd love to see what they would add in there. Okay, so let's see. Where do we think the ability to use the PocketStation would be in here? Like, would it just be if we save that it would, if we save, it would go here? Let's see, SEO Skimmy, I'm sorry for pronouncing that wrong, 5872, is this batch 1? No, I believe this is batch 3 that mine was. And then the thing that we were talking about a little bit earlier is that okay, is this low? Is this like creating a chart or something, or doing something custom? Huh. Okay. In the Retro RGB live stream that happened, Taki hopped in there and said that they were hoping to have, or aiming to have, all the SuperStation Ones shipped out by the end of March. So hopefully that is coming soon, with any like tracking numbers and everything there. If you are waiting on one, I think the caveat would be I don't believe any docks have shipped yet, as far as I've seen, but I may be behind. So if you're just bundled with a dock, it might take longer, but it sounds like from that last update, like they should be in the mail sometime soon. So I'd keep an eye on it, but I would definitely look at it. Should be in the description because I put it in here ahead of time this time, that you can go to the Taki Discord and everything and get some shipping updates. It's a little hectic in there because it is people all replying, but there are pinned comments that point to like latest updates and things like that. Okay, memory card. Edit use, autosave. We could just try saving to it. Huh. Well, this may not be, because now I'm thinking about it. Do I even have a... I might not even have a battery that's charged in here to actually get it to work. Let's try. I've got it up here. Let's see what this does. So you can see a little bit. There is an icon on screen. If I unplug it, I think the coin cell battery in this is out, so maybe we'll test this later. I do have some coin cell batteries in the other room, but that's my mistake. I don't think this is charged enough to do it, but supposedly this would load PocketStation, and it did. The Japanese version did detect and save to PocketStation. I guess we could test that too. Let's go back. Let's put this back in. Oh, I took the whole front of this off. And how did I even manage to do that? Oh, there we go. It has a way to snap back in. Okay. So when we have this in, let's go back to the main menu and make sure, did that save to the memory card? So let's just reboot. Let's go in here and see if the PocketStation at least has that save, because I assume that would be the test on here. Is if it has the save data, then maybe that game is available. We'll see. Let's see. Fallen Rascal, we're in. Yes, we finally figured out the right combination, and it was not the right combination. It was me hitting the correct buttons for this, for the Japanese BIOS on this. Okay, yes, we do have some DDR saves in here now. Fifth mix, system, and edit. So maybe if I get a coin cell battery later in the stream in this, we'd maybe get the memory or like the game. Because supposedly you play a little DDR minigame on this, but I don't exactly know how it works. It is just nice to know that this is detected through MultiTap into the Japanese version of DDR. So hopefully that is the case. Let's see. Oh, there's an 8-bit mods Discord, of course. Okay, yeah, I need to check that out. Let's see. You're all talking about Wave 3. Oh, sorry. You were correcting that this was batch 3 that this SuperStation shipped out on. Oh, CO Skimmy ordered theirs about a month and a half ago. No doc. I have no idea about the batches for like if you ordered it that recently. Hopefully it's still really soon that production is ramping up, but I guess we'll see. Not Ryan Fleming says, I believe the docs are still undergoing minor revisions before production really kicks off. Okay, that's good to see. CO Skimmy said didn't expect it before June. I truly don't, like if you ordered it that recently and they're able to get it out by the end of March, that would be awesome. I really hope this gets to like a level of production and speed that is like not an issue. And yeah, Fallen Resco is reiterating, he did indeed say that, pretty much word for word. All orders should be shipped this month. First shipments were signed, I believe maybe batch 2 as well as batch 3 standard editions. Okay. I do need to run to the restroom. If y'all excuse me, I'm going to put this on a minute, a little ad break for just a second while I walk away, and then I'll come back and test some more stuff with this. So I will be right back. Okay. I think everything is back and working. Let's see. Let's just see. Sinky says, on the shipping dashboard, the latest update is that batch 2 is in mass production. I know that was updated recently, and I think a lot of this stuff is like, if you're paying attention to Discord, you will see the things. And then, yeah, it was mentioned in the Bob's Retro RGB channel, the update on 3 and everything, or sorry, the batches in general, trying to get out by the end of March and aiming for that. So hopefully that all sticks. The shipping dashboard kind of seems like it is just a web page that is updated with more text. So it's probably not the most like up to date, but it seems like everything is on track and maybe ahead of track. And I hope that's true and stuff starts shipping out. But I did find another controller I wanted to test with that I forgot all about. And it reminded me, because we were playing DDR, that I do have a dance mat. So we should definitely try that to make sure this works as well. It is one of these that had like all 3 of the controllers in it. So let's try this into the console and see if this works. Let me get all this out of the way. And we will go back to this view. And look, I am stomping around to add this. And it seems to function. So I can stomp around and it is adding or moving the controller. So let's go back to, now that we know how to do this, let's go back to this. Let's go back to DDR. Now that I know what the buttons do, and let's make sure that this works. Okay. It's loading up. Oh, I do have a start button, and I remember that circle works. Oh, and you know what I can also do? So let's see. Do I even have, let me turn this monitor. Okay, so wait, circle is confirmed, yes. Yep, and let me try to get my little monitor to put out a little tiny bit of audio so that I can maybe hit a note. And then I can go and change this to where it is me. Okay. Okay. Fallen Rascal, give us a giggle. Don't love that. I didn't even realize DDR was around for the PS1. Can we get one with maybe out? I kind of want one without any. Is there one without any vocals? What's just Japan? Sure. Okay. I mean, it does seem to be working. I'm stomping around on this pad here, and it does, in fact, work. Okay. Oh, no. Hey, it works. I'm not good at it. And this is a harder song than I expected from having this control pad in a closet for 10 years.
This is
I like these ones that are just one direction. I don't have to switch feet. Well, that's expected. I'll come back after more practice. That's cool. Yeah. We've really had like no incompatibility with everything, which I'm very excited to see. This was like one of my favorite things to test about the analog 3D, just because I had random accessories and I'd never really thought to run those through the MiSTer. And getting to test all this is just fun. Okay, I have to stop standing on this to quiet this down. Okay.
Come here and play.
Okay. So now what else was on my list here? If anybody also has any other things they want to see, like, yeah, again, let me know. The force is strong with this one. that definitely made you giggle. Thank you. I'm glad I could provide that entertainment. Okay. We've got this set back up. Oh, I need to turn this little screen does not need to be blaring audio into my mic the whole time. Okay. I think that is it for controllers that I have. I'm trying to think because I pulled that one out of thin air. I don't think I have any other things to test. We did the Weel controller, fishing controller, arcade stick, memory card, MultiTap. We tried PocketStation, and I think it's just out of batteries. So let's try the Reflex adapter. Let's talk about that for a second, because this is the thing that I was most excited about when I was like, should I buy this stuff for a live stream? Will people be that entertained? And then I thought, oh wait, I would actually use these more than once, so that might be worth it. Okay, so here is my big mess of cables for my Reflex adapter. This is awful. I'm sorry I'm even showing it in this state, but I have all my little snack dongles and everything all into one huge jumble. And I think we talked about this last time, but the thing I originally got for my MiSTer multi-system right here was this Snac 64 adapter, or Snacks 64 adapter. It goes USB into the console, wherever. It goes in the snack port of the MiSTer multi-system and let me use all my old controllers. And they had these handy adapters on MiSTer add-ons, that site, that all connect via HDMI. They're just using the cable for data pass through. So, and it's probably because that part is like cheap to find and a good, easy connector that's secure. I don't know the exact reasoning, but that would be my guess. And then all of these are different adapters for consoles. So I would use this on the multi-system through the snack port to hook everything up. I wouldn't have to buy like a bunch of individual boards. It would just be an easy adapter. Then I got the Reflex Adapt, mainly because I thought, oh, if I ever wanted to play this stuff on PC, this has to be built into a specific core. So the N64 control core has to be updated to support the Snac controller because it's meant to work specifically with that one. So I think pretty much everything is supported now, but I think in early days they were waiting for some of that to get implemented. And now that it's everywhere, it's great. But what if you want to use your PlayStation 1 controller with just the D-pad and buttons with the NeoGeo or something like that? You wouldn't be able to use it because this is specifically has to be programmed in per core. So the Reflex Adapt is meant to alleviate that. And it's supposed to be like super low latency. I've had no issues on my end, but I've always considered that a Snac connection is the absolute fastest, that Reflex would be slower. But everything I've been reading about it in the, I guess, weeks since the last stream is that it is extremely fast, and there really isn't much degradation in speed or anything there that would be noticeable. There's definitely compatibility stuff, like some of the fishing controller may use something special that doesn't directly translate to this. That could come up, but it seems like largely this is a great use, especially for the SuperStation One, where currently without the dock, we do not have a snack port here, because as I assume, these PlayStation 1 ports are using Snac, they just aren't using a dongle. They're all built in and connected. So the thing that I got excited about was, I'm gonna unplug some of these, was taking the arcade stick from this PlayStation 1 fighter stick here, putting it into the Reflex adapter and using it to play arcade games. And the one that I'd tested before this, I can just plug it in and I have it loaded up to the PlayStation core. So you'll see the rolling because this is like a little OLED. But as I hold up, it lights up that up symbol. And as I move around, it lights up the others. So it is detecting this controller as just a PlayStation 1 controller through this PlayStation 1 adapter into this HDMI port, into the Reflex Adapt, and then into USB in here. So it should be fully detected. I should be able to click around. No, I wouldn't be able to because I didn't change the setting. Go back to default. I can pull this up and I would go change my pad 1 to just be DualShock or whatever it would need to be in here. There, DualShock. We'll do this one as well. Oh, I miss it every time. And one more time again and go slower. Okay. So we'll do this. We will load a different core. So why did I even change that here? That's silly. But the thing about this, like, I think we've probably talked about this, but just to reiterate, since Snac only works for the specific core, it doesn't interface with the menu here, which the menu is like on the, as far as I remember, the ARM side of this. So this is like the Linux side running this interface versus the FPGA that runs the cores. So there is like one other side of the MiSTer FPGA that just controls the interface for this. So when we go through here, we can't control anything unless it is a Bluetooth or USB controller, because the USBs are what interface with the actual like front end. But with the Reflex, because it takes a normal Snac adapter or normal console adapter, you can use it with anything. So it's really nice for navigating the menus. Programming the like menu button and stuff to bring up the OSD does take like a little more work, I believe, but by default, just being able to plug in an old classic controller that you like using and putting into here, I think is very cool. But what I wanted to try is to play NeoGeo and play something like, where do I have these stored at? Yeah, like oh, too fast. Like a Metal Slug. And then play it with a arcade controller and everything, which I find very nostalgic. Fallen Rascal, Spaghetti. Yes, that is exactly what those chords are. And it doesn't look much better. The cord on the Reflex adapter that I believe is the one it came with, nope, zoom out this way, is an extra long cord, which I appreciate, but when I use it every time, I'm like, this is too much. That one maybe did not load. So let's just do like 2 and see if that will go. Do I need to change? Is this gonna load? Let me go back out. I think I was in the right core and everything. So NeoGeo. Pull this up. I guess we could try original BIOS. That. Okay, maybe this one's gonna load. There we go. Okay, here we go. Incognito Man says, I've been meaning to get a Snac 64 or Snacks 64, that X in there. Yeah, I really like it. It's great. I just am sad I don't get to use it with this immediately, that I've got to wait for the dock, but I can get over that. That's fine. And let's see. I seemingly don't have start mapped to this. So let me go back to the menu. Define NeoGeo. A, B. C, D, coin. I don't think I need that, so. And no. I do keep this little keyboard next to me almost at all times because occasionally you need to hit a keyboard command, which is not my favorite thing. I wish I could do that a little easier, but okay. So let's play some of this. And yeah, it looks like audio is coming through. And I guess because we have this, we can turn up like auto fire and stuff, and you could just do auto fire. Like I'd always wondered what I would use these turbo buttons for, but it turns out for arcade games, it's actually really useful. And I just remember, like, anytime I saw this game in arcades, I could not wait to play because it just looked so impressive and it like blew me away. And being able to play this on a thing this size that does not cost like $1,000 per game, like if you want to collect NeoGeo stuff, super cool to see and just really impressive. But I feel like there are so many games, not just like this, but so many games that I will actually use this arcade stick for. And I feel like this is the difference. I've never messed with much of the arcade cores in here or really any of the NeoGeo stuff in general, other than like just looking at it and how beautiful the sprite work is. But like getting the controllers that are like you're nostalgic for and that you want to like actually make that game real for you, I feel like is a super cool feature of the MiSTer. I guess you could use this stuff on PC, but I just like using the real controllers just makes me actually want to play these games rather than just hooking up random Bluetooth controller. And that maybe is just me, but I don't know. It encouraged me to want to play them, knowing that I've got that like little nostalgic piece in there. I also did wonder, like, is this slowdown? Was this in the arcades? I have no memory of it. Or was this game like flawless with no slowdown when you actually played it? I have no memory of like what the experience was like. I remember it flawless, but I think I'm mistaken. Oh. I also don't know what company makes it, but I have seen that coffee table book that has like all the SNK NeoGeo like art for Metal Slug and everything, and I very much want that book. It is... the complexity of this artwork is so impressive, and I would love to just see stills of all of it. Like, it's incredible in motion, but I feel like just a picture is just incredible for this stuff. Okay, so we've taken that out. One level down. Yeah, it's just very cool that you can plug this in. I mean, technically I could be using the DancePad to play this game. I could be using anything. Maybe this is not news because like you could plug in USB adapters to your PC, but playing on something that I like feel fairly confident is like very accurate to how the game would play without introduced lag and everything, is very cool to me. Yeah, we can boot up Metal Slug too. Oh, the Scott McCall says the slowdowns are in the arcade versions too. I have an MVS cab and most of the Metal Slug games. That's awesome that you have those. I, for a very short period of time, was looking at like, could I justify getting one of these? Oh, this is technically because I hit a button on this to confirm the menu. It's playing 2-player now. Wow, you could just have so many different controllers plugged in. But yeah, I remember this, like anytime I was in the arcade, my brother and I would play this game. And so like, I didn't even think about the multiplayer potential of getting 2 arcade sticks and setting this up as everything. Like, that's super cool. But also in the like Metal Slug discussion and slowdown discussion, this is of the time where I was more impressed by slowdown, just being like, whoa, this is melting the computer. It is running so fast and like so many things are happening at once. So it doesn't bother me. I was more just wondering like, oh, is that real or is this a limitation of the MiSTer? Because seeing this art on screen was amazing enough, but yeah, this seems like a lot to do at that time, like to get it all to run the same speed. So that makes sense, and good on them for really pushing past the boundaries here.
This is less than ideal because I've got these two characters all plugged in at the same time, but hopefully... Does anybody have a grenade that we can throw? Okay, there we go. Fallen Rascal says 100%, plus this doesn't pull as much power from the wall, unlike emulation on PC. Yeah, the amount, like the power of a computer you need to do the emulation, like, is like what multiplied of what the actual console had. Like, you need such a more powerful computer to be able to emulate the software of a console, and this is just so cool that it is like trying to replicate the hardware and getting it that way. Like, the idea of it is very cool to me. Not really knowing much about it before checking out these projects and messing with the multi-system and stuff, but... And it's just so portable. Like, I guess you could say the same thing about you get a Steam machine or a NUC or like a... you could do Raspberry Pi and stuff, but I've just always had such bad dealings with like, oh, the latency feels really bad, or it's like a pain to use, that this is just like my perfect plug and play, especially with the SuperStation being more all-in-one. Like, this is very ideal specifically for me and probably a lot of others, but I definitely get if you're like, no, I just, I'll just play them on my phone. Like, you can emulate, you can play these games however you want. I just find this as like the most appealing out of most of the ways that I've ever played a game not on actual hardware. Okay, let's see if I can pull this menu back up. Oh, I forgot there is, yeah, there are some hotkeys to do auto fire and stuff in here. Let's see. Incognito Man says, I love looking at the NeoGeo wiki, and under technical features for Metal Slug 2, one of them is lags, for real. Yeah, I definitely saw it, because this is the one I booted up last night to make sure that this was all still working ahead of the stream, and that's when I was really questioning, like, even this shows those bricks breaking, but it looks so impressive. Like, I'm more impressed of like, yeah, you should lag. That's too many pixels to put on one screen. Fallen Rascal says, back in the day when games slowed down just meant they were on the bleeding edge. Yes, exactly. The Scott McCall, I actually put a MiSTer using MiSTercade in my NeoGeo cabinet for a bit, which was cool to get all the games in a real cabinet playing pretty much exactly the same as real hardware. Oh yeah, all the like MiSTercade projects are super cool. I have one of those Legends Ultimate arcade things upstairs that like it runs arcade games cool. I was more impressed by the inputs it had, but like it doesn't. I would love to get an actual like real arcade unit and put the MiSTer and the JAMA and like all like that MiSTercade stuff all together, because that seems like a really cool setup for it. It's also just impressive it played so close to the hardware, because I would think like, oh, sure, you could get that and do like some modification or some drive replacement or something to like bypass and run all the games like with some type of thing. But doing it all through the MiSTer is cool to just like put it in between and get that to run. Fallen Rascal, yeah, it seems like a perfect product. FPGA tech is really awesome. Not Ryan Fleming, that's absolutely what I'm most looking forward to. Games that never felt quite right when emulated. Especially thrilled that Otego's, I forget how you pronounce, CPS 3 core might be finally coming to fruition. Is the CPS 3 core the one that Mortal Kombat would be on? Because I had seen some stuff recently talking about Mortal Kombat might be possible. What is the CPS 3 core for arcade? I don't really know what that is. And let me go look at my notes on what else on this. So we showed this working on the Reflex adapter. I guess one thing to test would be, what does the Weel controller do when I plug it in? Can I... Let me go back to top down. So this should be the output of what's happening. Oh, I'll flip it upside down for you. That doesn't seem to be detected as anything. I see nothing lighting up when I turn this. B button works. You can see that kind of light up. These two buttons trigger, this button triggers, start works, the D-pad works, but this is doing no output through this. And I wonder, this might be a different setting that I have to go in to do it. Because right now I've got it on PSX, Gun, and NeoGeo, but it doesn't seem to do anything when I turn this wheel right now. So that is one of the limitations of this, is that you need to have it on the right setting for the controller, and it needs to be loaded in. And for certain stuff, I was wondering how this would function. Like, that is the cool thing about having Snac, because you can get this to work on real hardware and it just works like you expect. But there's probably some setting or something to turn this on, but out of the box, it doesn't seem to detect anything there. And the other thing that somebody asked for was Saturn, and to see that. So I wanted to show off if, did I put this in the right mode? PC Engine, NeoGeo, Jaguar. Okay, Genesis plus Saturn, so that might work. So I recently got an actual Saturn, but I did make sure to get Saturn adapters for this so that I could actually test it out. And I don't know what the 3D controller does. I've never tried it with... Wow, that's a tight fit. Okay. But because this is Genesis plus Saturn, it's not detecting anything. So I may have to put it onto a 3D controller mode, or it may not be able to handle that. And I left my plain Saturn controller upstairs. Let's see. I guess let me see if I have that script loaded. Also, I customize, I'm not showing y'all the front view here. I customized this background on the MiSTer and put my own background on there, which I thought was cool. Talkie includes some nice backgrounds as well. I was just more interested in how you have to format it to get it on here, and it worked, so that's cool. Let's see, on my scripts, I think okay, I have Reflex Updater. So when I run this should make it, yes, down is yes. Yes, and we'll do fast polling, down for yes. Okay, so this is where you can set what this supports, because it only supports so many controllers. As you move through the options, it moves between like N64, SNES, like it can only hold so much in memory, which is what I'm hoping the 2 does. I don't know if anybody has details on like what that will do. But when you go in here, you can go decide what it supports. And so what I'm looking for is like, typically I would do one that just supports a lot of things that I'm looking to play, load it on here and be able to do that. But when I look at this, I see Genesis plus Saturn, but I'm not noticing anything that says like 3D controller, and maybe I'm just missing it. So let me go back here. Yes, continue. Down is yes. Okay. And then back in here, let's look at the legacy options. So we have more Genesis Saturn, 3DO controller, PSX GunCon. That one might work for the wheel controller if I put it on that. Spinner, fake spinner, but I'm not noticing. Maybe I'm just missing it, but I don't see anything that says that there is a Saturn 3D controller option built in. So it seems like I can't do the 3D controller through this right now. I could also just be missing a setting, but it doesn't seem to detect it. So like I can plug this 3D controller into my MiSTer multi-system and it's fine. That's one of the things that I get out of Snac, where Reflex, you would either have to change the settings here, which is not really a problem, it's pretty quick to do, or you'd need to go in and like wait for them to update it or add support for it or something like that. Where with a Snac adapter, it would just supposedly work immediately. So small downsides, but like overall, this has been really helpful to just connect a bunch of stuff. And I have definitely tried before the non-3D controller, and like that supported. I assume that's what the Genesis Saturn mode was on here, and the last time I used it was why that was selected. But it's just something to keep in mind. If you have like a super unique controller, and actually it may be a little more work. Let's try, because I don't think I'm gonna plug anything else into this. Let's see if this works. So if we go back to the Reflex adapter, we go back into those settings, scripts, we do legacy, and we do PSX GuitarCon with all these modes. Yeah. Press the reset button. Error. Okay. The other thing I'd seen is that I could go in and do Reflex Updater, and I could hold reset and then plug it in, and that would put it into a more reset mode. So let's see if that works. Okay, so legacy, PSX GuitarCon. Okay, that's rebooting. So this doesn't have any instructions on it other than you can, well, if you can see this, I'll do this. These are the instructions on it. So you do have some things. This is version 1.1. It does say you can hold mode while plugging in to switch output, switch, HID, PS3, X input. That's really helpful. And it does have links to some of the stuff, but like I couldn't remember for the life of me that you could hold the reset button while plugging in to do some different options. But let's see. Now that we have this, let's go back to in here. What would be another racing game we could play? Maybe on like N64 or something? Or wait, no, this would be better. Let's go back to Saturn and let's do... Did I forget to load this up, or am I... Did I really forget to load up a Saturn game on here? That can't be right, can it? Did I fully forget? So maybe we'll load up one of those later when I have a second to transfer a file. Oh, that's disappointing. I thought I had everything ready. What was I thinking? Yeah, Daytona, the Scott McCall would be the thing to test. Let me transfer some files. That'd probably be the smartest thing to do, is just transfer them. Let me try some other things. I'll come back to this and see what we can do. This is interesting. Let's see if we can zoom really close in here. On the Reflex Adapt right now, while it's in this NGCon mode or JogCon mode, it does have a lot of data spitting out. And as I turn this, nothing's happening right now. It seems to not detect anything. If I change the mode to something different, it's rebooting. Oh, sorry, I'm like out of frame here. PSX JogCon, and that seems to be like the only mode. But when it has its readout of like what it's doing, I can see some values change when I'm hitting the buttons, I don't see any values change when I turn this wheel down here. So it may not fully support this, even though there is the GuitarCon mode. Like it may be something that you have to wait for them to update to add support for the Ultra Racer, which is something I don't know if they, it's probably not the top of their list, honestly, that would work. But I guess it does answer, if the reflex is not able to see, it changes nothing about this when I turn this wheel. I don't think it's going to work in the Saturn game. And then also it's my fault for having those Saturn games on a different SD card that I need to transfer over. So let's try some other stuff. We'll circle back around to Saturn. When I'm setting up the light guns, I will transfer some stuff over there. And let me catch up on some of this stuff. Oh, okay. The Scott McCall said CPS3 is Street Fighter Third Strike, and that's Capcom, specifically the one that plays Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. MK is Midway. Oh, so is that like Capcom S3 or something? Like the C is for Capcom in that. Vanuk W, how many FPGA devices do you have? I mean, I've got the multi-system is sitting next to this right here, and I like it a lot, but I was always just not a fan of the like 3D printed shell. Like it was fine, but I just kept thinking like, I would love for this to be sleeker. I've got the Analog Pocket. I've got that Analog 3D. I really love the Analog Pocket just because of the portability. I'm super excited to see what Taki does with the portable one, because I also backed the Game Bub, the little GBA Game Boy like horizontal handheld. Very excited to try that. The FPGA stuff is just super cool because like the little emulation handhelds I've gotten, I just feel like I can feel the latency on them, and that might all be placebo, but I feel like I know it's there, even if maybe I don't. So I really like the FPGA stuff, and I just think the open source nature of it is really cool to constantly get updates with things. What was I gonna load up while we talked about this? Oh yeah. Okay, I know what I'm gonna do. We're gonna try some more accessories and hear why I talk. Lace Mushroom says, I'm still waiting for mine to ship. It won't without the dock being finished. Okay. Yeah, I really hope we start seeing the shared pictures of like docks assembled and being sent out and stuff soon, because I know we got some updates from Taki on them, but I'm super excited to see that dock in action. And just to have the snack bypass or pass through, whatever it is. Do I have a spare? I guess I don't need it for this stream. Okay, give me a second. So one of the things that I had seen, this might have been on Modern Vintage Gamer, where he was talking about PlayStation for something, and he talked about Alien Resurrection that had a mouse mode in it on the PlayStation. And I do not have a PlayStation mouse handy, and one of the things I thought was really cool about the MiSTer is that you don't need to have one handy. You can just plug in your real mouse and play this game. And let's see, I'll do this controller with it, and then I should be able to go into console. And I guess, I don't know if I have Mario Paint loaded. Supposedly it would probably work with that too. I didn't even think about that. We'll do this and then load. Alien Resurrection and try to get the mouse set up in here. So snack port. DualShock Pad 2. I can't remember if we say that's a mouse. Miscellaneous. Let's see if this works. We'll see. Let's see. Not Ryan Fleming. The GuitarCon is definitely closer to the controller you have. Yeah, I was surprised it was going to do that. Oh, you were meaning for the 3D controller for the Saturn, that it was closer to that. Yeah. Lace Mushroom, my problem with those USB to PSX controllers was latency. But that was 10 years ago. Yeah, I definitely remember some adapters for PC just being truly awful. So like the Reflex, I've been very impressed with and not noticed a big problem ever. This game is best played in the dark. Well, I have a bunch of light shining in this room, so this will not be the ideal way. Let's see. Yeah, the Scott McCall, we'll try Daytona, even though I guess we know that that controller will not work. It's not being detected by it, but we should still load up Daytona to show some Saturn stuff. Okay, control options. Okay, so yeah, my mouse is working. I can click and do that. We'll do analog plus mouse. Mouse options. Use and fire. That seems good. Mouse speed. What's the max? So maybe we'll go in the middle. This was also one of those games that I was super impressed with because it seemed way ahead of its time. The fact that it has true dual stick aiming on a PS1 game, and I think this was all talked about when Modern Vintage Gamer talked about this game, because this was maybe used to like jailbreak some initial PlayStation 1s or something like that. But the fact that it supported the dual stick controls and got ripped up in the reviews at the time for how bad the controls were, and it's like the most modern controls I've ever seen in a game of this era, is very fun to me and just super impressive. So let's see. So yeah, this is me. Here's my mouse. Oh, this is going to be sickening. I'm sorry, y'all. And it is inverted, so I don't love that, but here's your mouse controls in here, and then I can use the left stick to move my character and this stick to look around. I've got, can I change the invert? That's invert Y. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let me try to slow down the movement so this isn't the most vomit-inducing. Yeah. So it is just, this is just a PC game at this point. Like what? This supported the PlayStation mouse, which I assume the PlayStation... Oh, do I have this mapped weird? I do. Define PlayStation buttons. Right, left, down, up. Am I mixing up controllers? What is up on the... Okay. Up is X. O. That. Select. Start. L1, R1, L2, R2, L3, R3. I don't need save states, so skip that. No fast forward, no pause core. I don't need dual shock. Nope. Will that work now? Oh, it's still switching analog versus digital. I think I remapped this in like the MiSTer menu. So give me a second. Can I do save states to SD? Save that state. Okay. And then let's go back. Let's reboot and let me set this because I think I had this on the top level MiSTer menu when I was doing things. Okay. D-pad test, stick test, down, right, down. Oh, no. Right. Right, left, down, up. A, B, X, Y. I hit the wrong buttons for that. Select start. Okay. Mouse move right. I undefine that. Left button. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. Right down, right down. It keeps like catching the input of the stick flicking back and forth when I'm trying to reprogram it here, and that is just like messing it up. Okay. Right. Right. Down. Right. Down. Be gentler. A, B, X, Y, L, R, select, start. Menu button will be this button. Menu OK. Okay, sorry about that. Let's see. Sargash 6459. This controller is connected through the little RF dongle, whatever this is, from 8-bit Do, or 2.5 gigahertz. I think that's what all these dongles are. So no, it is not. But I did, somewhere sitting near me, I did bring a PS5 controller down to show how to connect that again, because I found out that you can use the trackpad on that as a mouse. And I'm very interested in what that looks like. So let me try to boot this up. Sorry that took so long. I get way too scattered when trying to enter those and then have to redo it like 5 times. Okay. We'll go back here. Since we didn't save this stuff, we're going back to DualShock, and then we want mouse again. Mouse. Load this. Other, and then Alien Resurrection. Okay. So sorry. Took a while. Lace Mushroom. You buy some eBay junk for $4, you get what you pay for. Yes, with old PSX to USB controllers. I definitely agree. Also use a 12C OLED Classic. Is that why it's doing the refresh on this constantly, that you can see it like rolling through there? Why don't you guys support my obscure fishing controller? Truly, everyone wants to use the fishing controller. There's one of us that wants to use it. Let's see, Lace Mushroom, all I have so far is the Mr. Pie. I mean, the Mr. Pie can do most of these things. It's just, I was excited to have something that looks consoleized and maybe is like a less of a troubleshooting step. So I'm really excited to see what that menu is like and how much that changes. Because I know several of my friends would not be interested in the amount of troubleshooting that this sometimes takes. It's not a crazy amount, but it is enough that I'm like, yeah, I get that you probably just want to play the game and not. It keeps switching this slot 1 digital analog. I'm not sure why that's mapped that way. Button key remap. Yeah, and it's not, anytime I click through here, it's not showing the select start, L1, R1, L2, R2, L3, R3. I don't want save states. I don't want fast forward. Pause core, toggle dual shock. What if I did that for like, can I not use these back buttons? I'm kind of out of buttons to. I can undefine it, but it keeps, I don't know. The mapping on the mouse I'm at a loss for, but and then let's see, can we load that save state? Back to here. So I still don't know why it's not working that way, but I can still play this like a game. I'm worried I will not be able to use or do anything because that button is mapped badly. But again, I'm just super impressed that this like mouse works, especially because I assume a PlayStation mouse of the time would use a ball in there that would get covered up with lint and do everything. So the fact that this works at all is very cool to me. And the other, I think I loaded this one too, which is another that I didn't know worked. So, oh, not incredible. This is Irritating Stick was another mouse game that I saw. Yeah, sorry, as I was saying earlier, Lace Mushroom, the MiSTer Pi will do all of this. It just looks nicer without cables, in my opinion, and having all the output is cool to me. But the MiSTer Pi I was super impressed with, and I kind of miss having something that compact that could be thrown into anything, or having yet another MiSTer around. Let's see. Not Ryan Fleming says the CPS3 core also plays Red Earth, the second Street Fighter 3 game nobody played, and a couple JoJo's Bizarre Adventure fighting games. Why has that one taken so long to come out? It's just really complex, or felt like it wouldn't fit on the MiSTer for a time or something like that? Wow, this is truly like Switch Joy-Con mouse mode in here. I did not know. Use the controller in port 1. Okay. Scott McCall is waiting on Classic Gray SuperStation One. Yeah, seeing that one, I like the look of this one, but I do like when I have these two gray consoles next to me, it would look really nice to just really fit in and be identical to those, wouldn't it? That'd be very cool. Oh, this is being treated as player 2. Of course it is. Because I have this set to mouse on the second one. Mouse off.
Let's take a look at the courses.
That's fine. Okay. Lace Mushroom is waiting on combined shipping as well. Scott McCall has a dock as well for Gray. Not Ryan Fleming says, oh man, Mario Paint, fun sandbox to play in, but the SNES mouse was awful. Yeah, and that's what I think is cool about this. I mean, granted, I guess you could now be playing it on the Nintendo Switch Online to do that, but how do I move this little ball, huh? Let me just reset this game and see if it does it. Vanuk W SuperStation Batch 3 on sale, $25 off. I was surprised at how low of a price this is, especially for the analog outputs. The cost of getting a MiSTer with these amount of analog outputs and the ports for PlayStation 1, I feel like this is being way undersold in my opinion. But let's see. Fallen Rascal, yeah, hopefully the new menu comes soon for the SuperStation 1. I saw that he was doing the beta signups, and I quickly put my name in the ring. I've heard nothing. I would love to get to try it. I don't know if there's rules against showing it, but I can't wait to see what that looks like. Okay, one player. Let's try to get this working. Not Ryan Fleming says, the degree to which Bob from Retro RGB was impressed with the quality of the analog output suggests to me that the SuperStation 1 may be the best MiSTer variant product produced to date. Yeah, I agree. I think he mentioned early on, like, has anybody else tested this thing? And everybody was like, no, not to the degree you would test it, which is so true. Oh my gosh, this feels like it has like a weird mouse acceleration in here. But I guess weird. Oh, God. Okay. Oh, it does a replay of my horrible mouse movements. This does seem like this would be a kind of fun and hilarious game. You have to hold the mouse button down to use this, and the fact that the background moves slightly more than this does makes it feel like it's like delayed in a strange way. Do I have to start the whole thing over if I fail? But this is literally just like the game that you sometimes get to play at like a science museum or something. So this would not be what I'd be spending my hard-earned money on, but it does. I could see this is a Mario Party minigame. This is a mouse mode Mario Party minigame, right? That's what this should really be. This should be in there, and I don't know why it isn't yet, unless it is in the new Mario Party and I just don't know. Also, this seems nearly impossible with a ball mouse, if I were to guess. But yeah, Bob from Retro RGB being so impressed with this kind of blew me away, because his level of testing is so above, I didn't even think I touched the side, above anything else I've seen, that I'm like, he would pick out the things that I'd be like, yeah, that's a downside, but I'm never going to notice that. Do you have a timer? Like, did I run out of time? Why did I fail there? But the fact that he was so impressed with it just kind of blew me away, because I thought it would be like I could easily justify, like, yeah, I won't use that, but I understand that is a downside, and I'm horrible at this game. Just so cool to see he was so impressed with it. And the fact that I think early on he was talking about, like, well, surely it won't put output through all these at the exact same time without cutting one out. And then him working up multiple of them was so cool to see that he was so impressed. Lace mushrooms, same. That's why I ordered one. Lots of TV outputs like S-Video. Yeah, I have this CRT that I guess we'll show later. And its only good output input is S-Video. And I really don't have much that hooks up to that. It took a bunch of dongles before on the MiSTer multi-system, but just having straight cable to cable, so cool. Let's see, Fallen Rascal, yeah, I'm all in with this just for that sweet RGB signal for CRTs. Yeah, very, very impressed by that. This is based off this crazy Japanese game show. Oh, I didn't know there was a game show that did this. Does it actually shock them then? Because there's a lot of shocking energy going on in this. But yeah, there's mouse mode. I just think that's really cool, and you could theoretically use it in any core that had a mouse and would work, but you don't have to buy a bad old mouse. You can just use your current one. Not Ryan Fleming says, on CPS3, it was one of those thought to be impossible cores, but there was a time when the N64 and Saturn were thought to be impossible on the D10 Nano. I don't know enough about FPGA development. Yes, I remember seeing, like, I feel like probably the first time I actually heard of FPGAs was when they were talking about N64 work starting on them, and I had barely understood what it was, like what it could do and everything in there. So that's when I started looking at it, and then once those cores got like to a good state, that's when I was like, you know, maybe I should check this out. This seems like a really cool project to follow and interact with. Let's see, Not Ryan Fleming says, or arcade board reverse engineering to grasp the hows and whys. Yeah, circuits are a mystery to me. Incognito Man. Oh, sorry, BacklogBusters. When I was talking about Reflex 2, I meant MiSTer Add-ons Discord. Was thinking about the MCP or the Memory Card Pro. Okay, so earlier Incognito Man was talking about that 8-bit mod that make the Memory Card Pro 2 has a Discord where they keep people up to date with stuff, which I should probably join, because I would like to see like updates and firmware when that's announced. But the Reflex 2, the successor to this, is supposedly coming out, and they've talked about it on the MiSTer Add-ons Discord. So I will definitely need to go check that out. Especially, like, I bought so much stuff from MiSTer Add-ons just because they have a bunch of options, and I feel like they're pretty reputable, that I would definitely get more stuff from them. Incognito Man, it just hit me after all this time. Yeah, we talked about that a while ago. I'm surprised you even remembered. Okay. The other thing someone wanted me to test, and I don't have the Saturns. What did I do? Why did I said this earlier, but the memory card that I was using in this, I guess we can test it again. Let me turn this off. I'll switch this out. So I have a 512 memory card that's in here right now. There, it's set down there. And that's what I had been using in this. Or sorry, the 512 was one I wasn't using in this, and I had this 256 that I was using. The 256 has Saturn stuff loaded on it, but the Snac ports just stopped working for me last night when I was using this card. So let me put it back in, since we're not going to use Snac for this demonstration, and we just want to try some other controllers in here. Okay, so this is my 256 memory card that should have more games loaded on it, but again was giving me problems with Snac, and I'm just so unsure on some of these. I'm like, did my update all, like I ran the update all that changed all the names of these cores to be more understandable, but they're all way longer, and not in the sorting order I wanted. So I'm on the fence of if this was a good, if I was applying the right stuff, and that may be completely my fault on why some of this isn't working as I wanted to. But let us load up. So I was told to try out Radient Silvergun. Let me unplug this 8-bit DO controller. And I have 2 Saturn controllers to try. I have a real one upstairs if anybody wants to see that and try it through Snac. But I have this 8-bit DO Saturn type controller, the M30 2.4 gigahertz one that has most of the inputs and is nice, rounded, very soft in the hand. And then I have the, what is this, RetroBit Saturn USB controller, which I think is on the like MiSTer recommended low lag controllers selection somewhere. So let me try first this USB controller and just show what this looks like. And I should be able to control the menu and everything and load up Radient Silvergun. Did I do that? I'll use the keyboard because I know the controls on that. Okay, load this. And I was told to specifically play Radient Silvergun. And I forgot I have Pad 1 digital. Yeah, probably digital. Okay. Getting control for this. Game just unsuitable for the system. So that means I need to go change the region. I think I would do that to Japan. And then I think I would load the BIOS. Let's see if one of these will play it. That's the strange thing with the Saturn. I didn't understand how many different BIOS and things are happening in here. So that's something to keep in mind. Incognito Man says, I got my brain working on 3 different things at once while I'm listening to the stream. Yep, I get that. I get that for sure. Insert disk, Radiant Silvergun. Let's see if this one will load. We may change the BIOS again. Reset it with all this BIOS in. Maybe that'll do it. Let me try a different BIOS. It's been a while since I ran the Saturn core, so I kind of don't remember what. Okay, so Radiant Silvergun should be in. Let's see if it'll load up here. Start application. Okay, there we go. Okay, so this is the RetroBit controller. It's very, I don't know if you can hear that in the background there. It's very like loose on the sticks, like things jiggle around. I don't know how normal that is, but I've definitely noticed it's like pretty loud when I'm interacting with it. This also seems like a great one for me to use the reflex adapter and then play with the arcade stick. But let's just see how this goes. Yeah, it seems to work pretty well in here. Oh, whoa, you've got like a sword? Okay. So yeah, I forget who it was that wanted to see specifically this game and specifically this controller, but here it is there. I think I was watching the Pixel Cherry Ninja stream and he was talking about that the SuperStation One, I think it's because of all the analog outputs. I thought that was a general thing with the MiSTer is that if you have a bunch of analog add-ons for video and stuff, that takes up one of the RAM slots. So the SuperStation One only has 1 RAM built in, when with MiSTer you can do dual RAM to get some better performance out of cores. He was saying in his stream, which he knows much more about the MiSTer than I do, but that you probably wouldn't notice it for most games unless you're a real diehard fan of it. So that's probably something to keep in mind if you see anything here. Like the SuperStation One is single RAM, not dual RAM. So you would probably get still better performance if you were... Oh, this is the sword is there. Okay. You'd still probably get better performance out of a dual RAM one, and you would only really get that out of like a MiSTer Pi setup or a D10 Nano setup where you could customize what's in there. But I don't know when that would come up, and if you are questioning whether or not there would be the slowdown, you might, or probably do know better than me, what games would be affected by that. Oh, this like eats up the bullets? Whoa, okay, that's cool. I do not know much about shmup games like this, but it is cool to have access to like some of the best ones on the hardware that they're supposed to be best for, because all I hear about, especially for like shoot 'em ups and fighting game, is like the latency and the lag and worrying about that. So having something that you feel confident in that is going to run pretty well seems like a huge boost, because because that's what I think about sometimes, and maybe I get too in the weeds of it, of like, it doesn't really matter. It's just nice to feel a little more secure and like, this is running as I would expect it, and I don't have to troubleshoot things. So, okay, now we're going to try this controller, and hopefully it will just auto detect and get connected here because I plugged in the dongle, and it'll just work, right? Let's reset the core and see if it does. The light on the top is lit up blue. I think that means a connection, but I've not used this controller very much. This is when I was going into like I'd like to play Sega Saturn games on the MiSTer, and then I bought a Sega Saturn. So I don't really know what I'm doing with my time anymore and my money. Let's see if we can hold this down. Will it like sync up? I think oh, wait, okay. Okay, I'm still, it's not detecting this. Let's see if we can define Saturn buttons. Right, left, down, up. Okay, this may just ABC start, R, X, Y, Z, L, coin. No, I don't care about those. Okay. Okay, weird. It was enough to detect to define these. But Incognito Man says need default reset. Okay. And I'll go, let me just save these settings so that they're there. I'll do the full cold boot and see. Okay. Incognito Man says the controls are a bit weird when you use a 6 button for some of these. Lace Mushroom says this game, Radient Silvergun, is amazing. It's just hard. Let's see. Back to Sega Saturn. I feel like I got used to the MiSTer plain naming convention for these, and then I changed it right at the point that now it's confusing me. Okay. We did this Saturn BIOS. We inserted the disk of Radient, right? Oh, wait, I think it's in a different folder. Oh, okay, okay. Yep, I just scrolling past it over and over again. Never mind. Fallen Rascal also says this is a great game. I think the only real difference is with the Saturn core, mostly 3D fighters where you need dual RAM. Oh, okay. For MiSTer Dual RAM, which the SuperStation does not have, it has a single RAM. The 3D fighters are seemingly where you would need that the most. Bean with Bacon says that the RAM cart wasn't required. It just made animation smoother. Okay, there we go. Disconnected now. Thank you, Radiant Silver. Sorry, Incognito Man, for mentioning that I should reset the core. Yeah, this seems to work fine now and connect fine. It is nice to have a wireless one. Like, I haven't had issues personally that I've noticed with 8-bit controllers, like having connection issues. I know that's come up a lot on the Analog 3D. I've seen a lot of Reddit posts of people saying that they just, like, they have to have line of sight for the adapters to work. I've never had that. I use this Pro 2 white controller that I've been using for my PC all the time to play games with controller, and like my PC sits under my desk and the little dongle is plugged into it there. I've never had an issue, but you can never go wrong with just having wired controllers in. I've just typically trusted the 8-bit stuff unless I like can really feel it, or I know it's something that's going to be really problematic with timing. I've never had issues with their 2.5 gigahertz stuff, or 2.4, I forget which one it is, the gigahertz. So yeah, there's that. I'm still bad at it. Maybe it's because I was wireless. I was worse than before. Bean with Bacon, how is the VGA out? You can see in an old video. I think the last stream I did VGA out. I will do some of the analog outputs later, and I will plug it back in. But in my experience, it's been really good. I did the VGA out to an old Dell monitor. I did it to an old CRT computer monitor, and it seemed great with those. I had no issues with it. I haven't tried any of the adapters because I don't really need them because I have component and composite out from this. But yeah, I've seen no issues with VGA out. I would lean towards viewing retro RGB to get that type of stuff. But he seemed very positive on all the outputs, so I think that would still be good on all of these. Not Ryan Fleming. Even platformers benefit enormously from the reduction in lag latency. Yes, anytime I go play like a Mario or something, that's when I really notice it because I like know those games well. And when I know a game well, that's when it's immediately apparent like, oh yeah, this doesn't run. Bean with Bacon said, I've never had good luck with the 8-bit dough crap. Yeah, I really haven't had an issue with it. I'm sorry that you have not had a good time with it. I haven't noticed anything a problem. Like I use this controller all the time for PC and sometimes on the Switch for console stuff. I haven't really had issues, but yeah, I've seen more and more people that have had bad issues with them, and I feel both lucky and sad that they are inconsistent because I hold this controller at least in like pretty high regard. Okay, so that controller is done. Oh, I dropped another one. Let's see. What else did I want to try on this? Okay, I tried with the Saturn stuff, so this dad have another question for me, is that I wanted to try, let me God, I'm gonna look like such a 8-bit Dove fanboy. I have this 8-bit Dove controller that has the clicky stick that I had gotten also for this. Mainly because I really haven't had a problem with their controllers, and so I had gotten more to connect and try them out. Well, if I can remember did I charge this ahead of time? Okay. That's connected. And then let me go back to my let me do a full reset on this. Incognito Man says the 2.4 gigahertz 8-bit DOS stuff has been good for me. It's some of their Bluetooth stuff where it gets noticeable. Yeah, I've really never tried the Bluetooth connection. Well, I guess I have with the Switch. But it was the Switch One where I felt like most of the controllers had a bad connection, so I had never really paid more attention to that. Okay, so let's do console. We'll go back to the NeoGeo on this. I mean, the biggest thing with all of these is just, wait, where is NeoGeo? Who makes it? Where would it be? Why did I install this? Okay, SNK. Yeah, the nice thing is that there are, I think it's somewhat connected to MiSTer add-ons, that they have a thing out there that is, what else can we play? Oh, World Heroes 2, I remember playing this. The nice thing with like, I think it's associated with MiSTer add-ons is like they have their controller lag testing set, and that's where I'd seen, I think this Sega Genesis controller originally, this one in there. So like there are resources out there to see which things have like 0 to low to high input lag and be able to like handle that. So I'm very appreciative of having those options. So yeah, this is one I just thought was cool because it had the clicky and that seemed neat. But I being honest, this is probably like the second time I've used this controller. And I think it might show based on what's happening on screen here. Okay. And there we go. The buttons function. Could I blame that on lag about how bad I was? Yeah, but I won't because I don't think that is due to the latency, but who knows? God. If I can land like a couple hits. Wow. Really tough on normal. Okay. Let's see. Incognito Man says, to be honest, the only controller I've noticed it with was the Pro 2. And this is the ultimate one. I don't know. I mainly like that this is on a dock where it's charging and I pull it off the dock and it does that, which is where I'm very excited for the Valve controller because it also has a little magnetic dock that it sits on. But Bean with Bacon, their own software has completely bricked some of my controllers from them. Oh, that sucks. The update process on these is kind of scary. It's always like very worrisome if it's going to like mess something up, but I've never had it happen. Incognito Man said SNK. Yeah, sorry, I didn't see it in time of what the console manufacturer was. Not Ryan Fleming. I have maybe 10 or more 8-bit controllers accessories. They make good stuff. I'm glad you've had good luck with it. I mean, honestly, hopefully Bean with Bacon, that's like, have you've just gotten bad luck on the controllers and that's just like the one-off. I will say I have seen more people complain about them, especially with the analog 3D, but I've always been unsure if it's like the console in some cases or the connection or what, but it still sucks either way to have a controller that's not functioning. Bean with Bacon, I really want the NeoGeo joypad as I'm a huge fan of NGP, but want one from RetroBit, someone I trust. Yeah, I'm surprised more people are not making, like the clicky stick is so cool and kind of a novelty, but I wonder, because 8BitDo, it is like 8BitDo plus SNK. So did they partner with them and do they have some exclusivity with them? That's probably like maybe a reason there. Not Ryan Fleming says their software is definitely bad, but I haven't had anything catastrophic happen so far, knock on wood. Bean with Bacon. Boycott Valve, though, gave us the Bezos of gaming. I guess I don't get why on that, other than he's like a millionaire. I feel like the Steam Deck being so open and bringing Linux gaming to people has made me really excited for stuff Valve is doing, but I don't know. I don't know all the ins and outs of what Gabe is up to. Bean with Bacon. Oh, okay. Shame there's no way to upgrade these. However, for most people's cases, we'll be fine with dual RAM. Would be nice. Oh, okay. Yes, with not being able to upgrade this itself to dual RAM to handle that stuff. Okay, what else do I have in my list? I've run through all the NeoGeo. Oh, okay. Here's another silly thing I wanted to test on here. So if I go to unplug this, plug this in. And I think this will work. We'll see. So I was recently made aware that Guitar Freaks was for the PS1. So I'm hoping I can connect this, what is this, Cracked? I don't know how you pronounce it. They're like CRKD. They make these new Guitar Hero controllers. So I should be able to plug this in and play it with PlayStation 1. I have, at least knock on wood here, that I have it on the right SD card here. I should have Guitar Freaks ready, and I could try to play it with this and just see the connection, which is just one of the things I think is cool about this is like playing it very accurate. And this guitar has like a wired mode so that you can connect to everything. So supposedly, let's see if I can pull up the mapping. Okay. D-pad test, which should be this is right. Well, so far, I forget this has a dial on it to change what input mode it has. Well, maybe this isn't the thing to test on here. Oh, right. I can do, so PC mode. And then I go here. So with this, there we go. Okay, so right, left, down, up. And then, so I could do like A, B, X, Y, and then do left bumper. Okay. Well, I would need to do like up and down, wouldn't I? This may be more work than it's worth. But it's supposedly I have this stuff mapped. So then I could go in and go no, Sony PlayStation. And then load this other, and then I should have a guitar. Guitar Freaks here. And let's see if it detects this controller as I click into it. I don't really know how this game plays. I just know that people talked about this as being one of the like this and like Beatmania and other things being the real true start of the Plastic Instrument games. Okay, it's probably warning me that I should play with okay, so I should have right, left, down, up, and then triangle, arrow, X, this, and then start. Okay.
Guitar Freaks.
Press start button. Okay. It maybe is. No, I think it's just doing the cycle. Well, I may need more work to get this connected. It's not really seeming to detect all my inputs, and I forget what mode to put this in. But theoretically, this would be possible because it has PC mode and all the options in here to be able to work. But I'm just not seeing it be super detected right now. So that's probably more on me just forgetting what the different modes are for this. So, but technically this should be possible to connect because it works on PC and just sends like keyboard inputs, but I may need to be putting it into like a X input mode or something different than it currently is, and that's probably my fault. So we will test that another day. Okay. The next thing I wanted to test was GunCon stuff, so let's move on to that. Being with Bacon, Gabe wants to destroy everything that makes PC so much more appealing than consoles with his desire to consoleize it and his desire to have complete control over the market. I don't... That's the opposite impression I've ever had of it, especially with the Steam Deck. The Steam Deck makes it easier for me to hop into my games without having to like launch, go through all the settings. Like it eases some of that, and I could understand that being more consoleized with SteamOS, but the fact that it still lets me boot to desktop, play all the games to the desktop, add stuff, to me it's felt like the best of both worlds over like I can still play all the games I want using PC-centric stuff, but it just takes some of the like OS stuff that gets in the way of like, I'm not in here to do productivity. I don't need the OS level. I just need to like launch my game that I've really appreciated. I don't really understand that take, especially because it's still been like so open. I guess I would understand it from the like they charge a lot to developers, like they get a big cut of the pie of how games are sold, and they do a lot to make sure people like stay in Steam. I've seen the stuff about like that you're supposed to sell the games for equal across all markets, that they have an issue with that, and like itch.io has had a problem with that in the past. So I get that part of it, but my impression of it is that Steam has like brought more people to PC gaming, and like they've made me interested in Linux, and they've lowered the bar for some people to get into PC stuff while keeping it alive. So I don't really agree with that at all, but I guess to each their own there. Being with Fallen Rascal says, Being with Bacon, Sega Saturn was an awesome system for 2D games. Would love an original, but I'm a stickler for condition as I want a new one. Oh, wow. Yeah, that seems hard to do. Being with Bacon says, Fallen, look for a NAP one. I personally don't care much about aesthetics as long as the internals run good. Fallen Rascal, reason I ended down a FPGA rabbit hole. I had no idea how awesome they were. I assume you mean the Saturn. Being with Bacon, my main SNES console hasn't had a top half of the shelf for like 15 years. I have I assume an analog pocket, but the SuperStation will be my first actual MiSTer device. Being with Bacon, when I saw it had a VGA out, I was sold. Amiga games for days. I don't know if you've messed with the analogizer for the Pocket. I found that one really, really cool for connecting everything in there and just like getting it working and outputting through VGA from the analog pocket, but it is kind of a hassle, and you had to like do stuff to leave the analog pocket on. So I get this is like way more simple, but I was impressed that the analog pocket can output stuff through the analogizer and do like component out through VGA and do all this stuff. Like played with that for a while before I got a MiSTer multi-system, and I was super impressed with it. It was a little like hacky, but it was still cool. I'm switching over to the other memory card to see if I have better luck with the GunCons from this. But we will see. I may not need the update all to do this. So I don't have a good way to show this right now, but I think this is the last thing I want to show before. Yeah, I think this is the last thing I want to show. I guess we could do a couple things before I go straight to analog video. So let me switch back. Let me switch to the other thing because I do have a script set up on there that I wanted to show off. Just talking about like cool MiSTer stuff. I know last time we went heavy down the like Zapparoo rabbit hole, and I thought all that was super impressive. Let's see. Oh, and I took this controller out. So one of the things I wanted to show, I think somebody had asked in the comments, probably after the video. I don't think this was like while I was streaming last time. Someone had asked about controlling the MiSTer because Zapparoo could go in and like launch individual games and things like that. And they were wondering if there was some way to like automated launch different stuff in here. So the thing that I didn't know about at the time, and hopefully this shows up on stream well, is this. The little MiSTer remote that's an option here. So I can hit through the menus and change, like I can scroll through all the different stuff and select things. So it has like full control, has a keyboard that comes through. I think this app is on everything. And I think, who is it that makes this? Like Wizaroo or something like that. Makes this, but you have all these remote settings, and you also have a full list of, you can scroll through all your games on here. And so I can go through and like pick WonderSwan, and I can launch Beatmania for WonderSwan and click on it, and it will, this is all wireless. It just connects to the same Wi-Fi network. You give it the IP address, and it'll launch Beatmania for WonderSwan. And that's very cool to me. The other thing you can do is you can go in and like search for games. So you can narrow by all systems or do something there. And then when you have different systems and things in here, you can also just launch them. Like you can launch GBA 2-player from here. It'll boot directly to the core. I can go back into the control menu. I can pull up the OSD. I can like mouse through this. So if you need a way to control this, especially if this is kind of sitting in your entertainment system, maybe you've got a wireless controller and you like the battery on this thing dies really quickly. You can use your phone to do it. And you can also use this through a web interface as well if you want to do that. But I thought this was very cool, especially because I could go in and set up I can just scroll through like the individual cores and do stuff in here, and even take screenshots. I can hit this button to like take a screenshot from the MiSTer, and it'll upload here, and then I can see it on my device, or go in and change the wallpaper. So I can scroll through of what the installed ones are and change it to the SuperStation One instead of like my BacklogBusters background and things like that that I just think are super cool. You can even run like scripts from here and launch them. Like this is super powerful. And the thing I was playing with is, let me go back out to the main menu here, is that when you scroll through the list of games on this, you can set up, if I search for like, let's see, what would this be? Time. I can search and try to find Time Pilot, I was thinking Time Crisis in here. Oh, that would show here. Let me narrow it down by PlayStation and then search there. And then I could do Time Crisis and I could launch it, or I can go in and create a shortcut. So if I wanted to set it up to where, and this is what I did on the main menu here, I went through all through this wireless app. I went through and created a light gun folder that put all the light gun games so I could show it off as a stream. And then I had a lot of trouble connecting the stuff. But the MiSTer remote, I think this is called, yeah, this is just called MiSTer remote back there, is really, really handy. And like I said, you can access it through the web. There are apps out there and everything. It's super impressive, really cool. Like I thought it was just going to be an OSD and I would like just be able to pull up the menu and maybe do some things. You still can't, as far as I can tell, there is like the keypad for numbers. There's a keyboard, but I don't see anything to trigger like to calibrate a light gun, you press F10 on the keyboard. I don't see a button for that. So that like that type of thing, I'm not sure. But it is really cool. There is like a pair Bluetooth button on here, and that is handy, but the SuperStation One has the hotkey for that. I think we showed this last time, that if you hold the menu button or this button for a while, it does this where it searches for a controller on here. And I forget which one it is that I like hold two things in here to get it to like search. Maybe that's to it. Yep. So it will now pair my DualShock 5. Right? This is the DualShock 5. That's what that's called. DualSense. I think that was it. Oh, well, I thought it had connected. But maybe I didn't do it correctly. I forget what the hotkey is on the controller to get it to do, but being able to hold down this menu button to pull that out is a nice feature. And the fact that you could do it through the MiSTer remote and like connect it all is cool. But I don't remember how to sync this controller. Again, I did read that you could use this as the mouse mode in there, which would be cool to see in thing, but let me look up real quick. Create button and the PS button. Oh, until the light bar flashes. Not the menu button and... There we go. Pairing, connecting, done. Okay. Finish that. So I guess that... Okay, console... Sony PlayStation. This could be the... Maybe this is the ideal that we were all missing out on. And then could I treat this as a mouse? And then load up Alien Resurrection? And could I have one controller that has this, like trackpad type stuff? Let's just see. I know we already spent some time in this game, but I'm just interested in if this works. Let's see. Fallen Rascal. Yeah. Once upon a time used to mod all the old consoles under the name Retro Mods Ltd. a long time ago, but it was just too much work. yeah, I've always looked at that. I have like soldering stuff and wanted to like get into it, but the level of skill necessary seems really high that I've been very hesitant to really go down that rabbit hole. But it is cool to have that set of skills. It just does seem like a million weekend projects. Okay, control options, controller configuration. I truly don't know if that is working. I guess we'll just boot the game and see. Pressing it does seemingly do the same thing the mouse did. Georgia, Texas dog. Hey, I noticed my SuperStation. I can only put my old PS1 memory card in all the way. The PS2 ones only go in a little bit. I believe you would only be able to use the PS1 memory cards with the SuperStation One because it is, hey, the trackpad works. It is only meant for a PlayStation 1. Like, I don't think that PS2 memory cards worked in the PlayStation 1 themselves ever, but I could be wrong on that. This is very impressive that this works as a mouse. This is probably not the accuracy you would want to use for this, but very cool. I did not think they'd be able to detect this, and I especially didn't think that this would just show up as a mouse and be functioning that way. Especially with the clicks. This does not feel ideal to do, but that's still cool that that is even possible. Okay, moving on. Let's see. Fallen Rascal says, these are so awesome as once the operating systems are there, I'm hoping they will operate more like an analog. Yeah, the analog, like, I could let anyone borrow that console and they would be able to use it with their cartridges with like no teaching. And with the MiSTer, I feel like I have to hover and be like, you need to do this for this setting. That is like a bit of work that I would love for there to be an option. Like, they're not getting rid of the MiSTer menu that is very powerful. But I think the option of letting people hop in and get that more consoleized experience, I just like there being more options for people to get into it. I don't think there should be a high barrier of entry for that stuff, especially if it's something simple. Like, you know, you're just going to load the games. You're not going to get all this enhanced functionality because you need to dive more into and like learn it to do that. But even just the basic stuff of having a Bluetooth pair button on this that you just hold to launch it is like a nice thing to be able to do for people. Yeah. Fallen Rascal. Oh, that's cool. Screenshot feature is dope, says Bean with Bacon. Bean with Bacon. Even the PS1 days, devs knew that FPS needed mouse support. I really like, I guess I'd be interested to try the Steam controller on this, how it would be input in, because I love the trackpads on the Steam controller. To be able to like sit down on the couch and use mice, I feel like is very impressive. So I think that's cool. Okay, give me a second to run to the bathroom. I'm then gonna set up some stuff over here because there's no way to easily show it, but I have my CRT set up to the side. And what I do have is a GunCon 3. And what I wanted to show on this is that the GunCon 3, this was all news to me, so I'm going to explain it here just in case anybody doesn't know. The GunCon 3 just uses USB. It has nothing else. It doesn't do the sync or anything on there. It does nothing else with its plugs. But what it does have is 2 IR sensors that have to sit to the left and right side of a TV. And so this goes off the IR sensors that are set up in the corners and basically does a very Wiimote-like thing where it's looking at where are those at, like a Wiimote has left and right sensors, and then it's getting it based on that. And the MiSTer has a way for basically at the main menu and then in any console core, you can hit F10 and you can shoot at the top of the screen, bottom, left, and right, and that will calibrate basically the directions of here are the edges of my screen, and it works surprisingly well. This was also the impressive thing to me is that because it's USB, it just works in everything. Like, can't remember if I tested Duck Hunt, but I definitely tested Saturn games, Super Nintendo games with that weird you ride on Yoshi and shoot stuff with a super scope, and then PlayStation games. So this seems really great. The price of this is probably not. I got the all-in like because I wanted the sensors. Like I got the big Time Crisis 4 box with the game, the sensors, and everything here. One of the reasons is because I just wanted to show it for this stream, but I believe it is Laser Bear and maybe on MiSTer add-ons as well. People have been making third-party sensors for this because you will find, I found that another light gun, same GunCon 3, in a game exchange over the weekend, and it came with no sensors. The expensive part of this seems to be the sensors and finding them. The nice thing is they can plug into any USB power source and they just work past that. It doesn't have to be plugged into the MiSTer. You don't need to put the MiSTer next to your TV and dangle the cables for the sensors up. It just needs power and then it works with this and you plug it into the MiSTer. But the sensors seem to be the expensive part. There are projects out there. I believe it's an open source project that made the third-party sensors, but as far as I can tell, MiSTer add-ons, and I think Laser Bear maybe had one at some point. They're all sold out and not in stock. So maybe someday those will come back into stock. The other thing you could get is, as far as I know and have seen, the MiSTer has full support for the Shinden light guns that puts like the white border around things. But this has been nice because it doesn't change how the game looks visually, like the border would, which is not that obnoxious. And it does work with any LCDs, OLED, whatever, non-CRT stuff. And it also still works on CRTs because it just, no matter what it's set against, it will detect those sensors. All that to say, I'm going to run to the restroom. I'm going to get this set up. So I'll put it on a little break here and get this plugged in. And I'm going to move this top-down camera to where it's just facing the consoles. And I'm going to do that not while live because I think I've made a lot of people sick by moving this camera around. I've got a couple other things hooked up here because I also got questions on like, what does the GBA and GB 2-player core look like? And can you send that out via HDMI and other things at the same time? Yes, you can. But give me a second to hook all that up and then I'll be back with this. And I also got a GunCon 2, which I've had trouble hooking up, and the GunCon 1 that I've shown in previous streams. The thing I'm most excited about is GunCon 3 because it's really easy to get it hooked up on all of them. The GunCon 2 still uses the brightness of a CRT. It still works on a CRT, but it is USB and it uses the sync cable in here. So this one's interesting, but I've not gotten this to work yet. So maybe we'll have better luck today with working it. This works fine, but only in the PSX core, and I could not get it working, even though I saw reports that some people have gotten it working, that you could do the PlayStation plug into the Reflex adapter and then get it to work. I have not seen that yet. Supposedly with polling up, you could do it, but I've not seen it work just yet. So the one I'm going to show first is the GunCon 3 because I know that works. Fingers crossed it didn't mess up for me last night. And then GunCon 2 we'll try afterwards and try some other things on the CRTs I have over here. But yeah, give me a few minutes to set that up and I will be right back. So we should have S-Video to the top left TV, VGA to the bottom left TV, and then if I can get it to the right input, this would be... Do I have those cables plugged in? No, I don't. Okay, give me a second. What I'm doing on the big HD CRT, which does not support light guns because it has some digital, I think it is digitally processing the signal as far as I understand it. What I'm doing from that, I'm doing DIN 10 connection to SCART, to a SCART to component adapter, because somebody had asked, what does SCART look like from the DIN 10? Can light guns still be used and everything? I think technically, yes. I don't have the perfect way to show it because I'm sending it to a digital TV, so it's not ideal. But I'm at least trying to show that you can use all the outputs. You can use DIN 10 and SCART and still like get the sync signal. So I'll show that with the GunCon original on PlayStation 1 to just show that it is giving sync signal out of the GunCon port while outputting DIN 10 to SCART output. I don't have a TV that accepts SCART natively, so that's part of my problem with this. But let me get these finally plugged in, and then we'll go through. And just to show, I'll get the menu up, and I can do the default view here, so you can see these. So we've got two menus up. Let me plug in the last TV here. Okay. Now I should be able to switch this over to that. And we're getting weird colors for this. So this is something I've noticed with Component, and it could be this TV processing it weird. But it does seem like something is going on with the colors in the component here, because I have got nothing but like pink or green. I'm not sure if this is a setting, like I can go in and change these to see if it outputs in something different. But it still largely seems to do that. So I'm not like, this is the S video option supposedly, and it swaps some of these to some weird stuff as well that I'm not quite sure what's happening. There's the YPBR option in here, which gives no output and does rolling on the S video. So I've been largely keeping it on main and just showing that it can output these. I'm not sure about what's going on with the colors or what something is here. And what y'all are getting on the view here is you're seeing HDMI directly in. And then all these TVs are showing non-HDMI, the analog inputs in here. And what I do have is on the big HD CRT that is not going to display stuff out in the right color here because of something that I've done. What it's doing is it has both the sensors to the top left and top right. I'll go point at them really quick. So those two sensors are what control the GunCon in here. And I think if this is still connected, I can, well, I don't have a good view of this. But the GunCon 3 has these analog sticks here and here, and those do control the MiSTer menu. You'll see me moving around in it here, which is kind of cool that it has that option. But what you can do is when you're in any of these menus, you can hit F10 and it pulls up this tracking. So as I point at the screen, it's tracking based on the actual like tracking LEDs on there. And so I'll point at the very top. That's what this is showing me. That number that's changing is meaning I need to shoot at the edge of my screen at the top. So I will shoot at that. And now it's wanting me to do at the bottom. And if you shoot completely off screen, you'll see it stops moving because it's just so far away from getting the sensor. So you want to do like the highest value you can get that isn't completely off screen on here. And one problem I had with this is I calibrated it and then no core would launch after I calibrated it for some cores. Come to find out, if you basically have these set wrong or you aim too far off screen and they go to like a 0 value, if it ends up having to divide by 0 or do anything in there, it will completely lose the tracking. It will also save those settings to the core. So every time the core boots up, it will try to check your light gun settings, even if you're not connected with a light gun seemingly. And if they don't match, it will then basically like fail out. So that's very unfortunate, but you can just go in, put the SD card in your computer, modify and delete the files that are for the light gun calibration for each core. And that solved it for me. But it was a little weird to have to go do that and not something I expected. And we're getting another fun thing, which is that this little keyboard I had has now run out of battery, which is fun because how am I going to hit F10 now? How am I going to do that? I guess I'll plug this into a wall while we go through some stuff to calibrate it. So let's see if I can get this menu kind of up and running. So let's go back here. Let's go to console. And because this is a Sony thing, I want to see it on not Sony hardware. So let's see it running on something else. we'll load that Saturn BIOS. We will insert a disk and what is the House of the Dead? Let's see this one. The other MiSTer settings we have is, I think this one stores all of it in input. So you can go in and you're saying pad 1 is going to be a light gun. And then you can also go in and do a crosshair on here. And I think you set both of these to mouse. I'm trying to remember what the calibration step on this was. Oh, I might have to calibrate this in this mode. And it is supposedly calibrated, but I'm not seeing it move around. And this thing keeps dying on me. So I'm going to plug that in for a second. But this is the problem I was having is sometimes it seemed to detect it just like immediately. Sometimes it didn't. And when it was working, I could just get the cursor to move around completely and it was fine. This is the part that I was trying to troubleshoot and had some issues with of just how this connected and what was going on here. It's less than ideal how like much troubleshooting it took to get this working. One time it worked fine, and other times, like now, it just seems to not work. So I'm really not sure in some of these cases like what I'm doing wrong, because it is calibrated from the top level, it's calibrated from the bottom level. Setting the joy and doing all this, like we can even do the mouse to see if it detects anything, but that does count as a light gun, so you have to do this. One thing I will try is we'll save all this, because this does seem to come up quite often, is that you might need to do like a cold reboot and actually restart everything with things plugged in from the start to get it to function. So we'll see if this changes anything. But this is the problem I was encountering earlier, and we can try a different SD card too to see if that has any effect. But the time I got this working, it was incredible. It worked so well. And then the times I haven't gotten it working, it's been pretty frustrating to deal with. Oh, there we go. Okay. So I had to hit one stick on here to get the controller detected when the core was booted up. It wasn't doing it initially. So now I should be able to go in and set the BIOS. And that, like something like that, that completely on me. I forgot that you're supposed to hit a button to get it to recognize the controller. But this feels like extremely accurate. I'm sure it's a little more laggy probably than like the old-fashioned style light guns, but it's still extremely impressive to me that it works this well. And you'll see the crosshairs, which I've made really big just so y'all can see them on here. That Dell monitor needs to turn back on. I don't know why it's taken so long. Unsuitable for the system. Do I have it in the wrong? Let's just do auto and see if it'll boot up. Okay. So yeah, I'm just trying to show the crosshairs big so that it's noticeable through the stream here, and I don't know if it totally is. Let me go top down so I can just see this completely. But you will see the crosshairs moving. You can also see like this pointing around and doing stuff. Trying to get that cable out of the way. So as I pointed at the screen, the crosshair will move. It will output all that to the analog stuff, and I could move these sensors wherever. I could put them in front of CRT or anything. So really, like the GunCon 3 seems really powerful for getting this to function on any core, any controller, anything like that. It just, you've got to calibrate it several times. You have to calibrate it per core to get it to actually function in some of these. You also need to sometimes go in and calibrate it to where it actually, like, how do you press start here? And you need to make sure that this is like all connected and all working. So it's a little bit of a more pain to set up. Like, I'll just do the arcade. We'll go through here. It's a little bit more of a pain to set up. And like the sensors are maybe obtrusive, but it works really well for getting this onto any TV and having a light gun and having it work in anything. You could theoretically do the same thing with the like gun IR, whatever that one's called. You could do the same thing with anything else. This is also something that I noticed on Virtual Cop, but didn't notice here when I was playing it originally. The aiming seems like a little bit off. You see, it's not quite lining up with where the crosshairs are. And that might be solved by just doing something as simple as going in here and saying that crosshair, don't show me it. Let me just get a feel for it. It could also be my calibration is messed up with this. But it definitely feels off to me. It could be my placements of the things, but that's just one thing you'll have to keep in mind is like, because this uses those, it's not using the like CRT itself to bounce the image back to you and like see where the specific scan line is, like seemingly how the old zappers work. It does take more to like calibrate it and get it working. But the GunCon 3 does work for all of these. It does like connect. It does work pretty well. There's just small things that I need to figure out that have made it a little more complicated than other things, but it is impressive that it works for all these cores. So like, let me go back to reboot here. And we'll go into the console, Nintendo, Super Nintendo. And did I keep this set to input options, Super Scope, Joy 1? Is it still calibrated? No. So I've come back into this one. Nothing moves, not calibrated. So I have to grab I have to pull up this menu. I need to go, well, actually, before I say it's not calibrated, let me move the sticks in here. Okay, I've moved the sticks. It has detected this is plugged in, but it seems to have lost the calibration for it. So let me again. Grab my little keyboard that's running out of batteries, turn it on, bring up the menu, hit F10 to do this, and then shoot at the top of my screen, bottom of my screen, left, right. And then supposedly, it's still not detecting it. Supposedly that will be it. So Super Scope is set. The crosshair will do big just so we can see it. We'll do Super Scope. We will load into Yoshi Safari and see if it boots up. If not, I'll restart the whole thing. Okay, so nothing's being detected. And let's go out here. Let's save all those settings we made. And let's reboot the whole thing and see if this does it. Oh my gosh, wrong button. And I don't know. I would assume it's very similar on like the... Okay, so there's my crosshairs working. I don't know if that... Yeah, you can kind of see it on the CRT better. So now I'll go in and I'll load Yoshi Safari, which is a game I did not really know existed until recently looking at this. I feel like I'd seen maybe some footage of this in the past and thought this was a ROM hack and not a real thing. It is very odd to me that it's a real thing. We will take the cross away. Okay, I'm just mashing the controller trying to get through this cutscene. But yeah, this does work. It has the weird, like, even I forgot it. It was the last chance thing of like, let me try rebooting it and see if it works. It's just a little frustrating to have to do these little things. I'm sure it's fine once you get used to it, but even me testing this earlier in the week and then coming back to it, I forgot a lot of these things and having to reset it every time. That it will take some troubleshooting. You will maybe need a notepad that says the steps that you need to take so that you're aware of it. But it does work surprisingly well for handling this stuff. Okay, come on. Let's move on, Mario. Perfect shot. Not quite perfect. Okay, and we'll just do level 1 here. And this does feel currently a little more accurate than the Saturn. We can pull up this. Let's pull up the big cross here and see. This is closer calibrated, seemingly. I'm horrible at hitting these things, but... And I can do my little Yoshi jump. God, my aim is terrible, but... Oh, I've lost. Yeah, Fallen Rascal says it would be nice for it to auto-configure on device input. On device input used maybe one day. Yeah. Like, and that's the thing I do appreciate about this is like all these small things, like a lot of them have gotten worked out. If you go look at the videos I was following to get this set up were Lou's Retrosource, and he had videos on the GunCon 1, 2, and 3 and how to set them up on the MiSTer. And a lot of those were like, you need to install this certain patch. You need to download this specific version of this core. And they're all years old. And it's amazing to see how much simpler it is, even though, yes, there's still some complications and things to do, but they've definitely made improvements. And it is open source. Like anybody could contribute an improvement to it. And that would be really cool to see. I'm going to pause this real quick. And I paused in the wrong function. Do I have this map for an actual pause anywhere in here? No. But you can see, like, it isn't quite lined up. That could be my calibration. That could be my placement of these things. Like, just hooking up a normal light gun is easier that uses the CRT, like, scan lines and does everything there, like Duck Hunt used to do, because it just, you don't have to mess with anything. And I think it's the same for the, like, Gun IR and the, whatever the other one is that the Shinden light gun, that you will have to do some calibration. You'll have to do some setup, but it's really impressive to play these games on super low latency monitors with like a pretty accurate gun controller and be like similar to real hardware and play these classic games, which like, I know you can do mouse emulation on PC and like click through and do all that, but it's very cool to see this running on like near real hardware or like close to accurate hardware with all this stuff. I think that's very, very cool. And like just gives you access to games you wouldn't have played normally. I do kind of want to see this game to its end though at some point, because this is wild to me that this this exists. Especially imagining playing this with the real Super Scope, which I would love to find one of those and actually test it plugged into the Snac of the MiSTer and see what that's like, but we'll see. Oh, do I have to hold the jump because to do little Yoshi flutter? We'll see. No, I'm just not timing it well. The other thing I wanted to try is like this screen looks bad in green. I was trying to show that you can do Snac output while like doing some stuff through here. Let me plug in another input and see what that looks like to see if that looks better. I've just gone composite into the front of this. This is DIN 10 port to composite. There we go. So that's the one thing that is strange to me. Well, input 3 is that the YPBR output of this seems to have an issue. I don't know why. It could be something as simple as like any setting on here that modifies it, and I haven't changed that. I do have on my 512 card, which is not what is in this. This was my other card that had more Saturn stuff, so I could demonstrate that. Could be as simple as changing something in the INI file. Could be a dip switch or something on there, but I just haven't dug down the rabbit hole of getting every input like perfect. I didn't notice Bob from Retro RGB have the same issue. So like it obviously works. It could be my setup. It could be this TV. It could be something or a million other things that are causing that. But yeah, so that is that. Let me see what else people were wanting to see. Yeah, I guess we should try some other cores because I did have Virtual Cop, House of the Dead. Oh, I should do that from my handy remote control, shouldn't I? So light gun. What about Wild Gunman? Let's see if this works. So I'll go in, input options. So probably Zapper Joy 1. Mouse, probably keep the crosshairs on. Snac is off. And then with this menu up, I should do 10. Do the top, bottom, left, right. And then I'll go in and go back. I will save these settings. I will do a reboot. I also don't know why that Dell monitor. Oh, it may be because some of these are 240p and it doesn't go that low. Yeah, I guess that could be it. Go back to light gun, go back to wild gunman. Okay, I see the cursor moving. It's kind of hard to see. You can see it overlaid on like the wild and gunman right now. So it is technically working there. And then if I can get, I don't know if any of these buttons are synced. There we go. Okay. This may not also be mapped to the right input. Let's try a different game. Let's try launching Duck Hunt. Okay, so I can see that the mapping looks screwy for this. So let me try to define this. Right, left, down, up. Let's say A and B. And then select and start. And I don't need that. I don't need mic. A zapper button? Mat, I shouldn't need that. Okay. No save slots, no alternates. I seem unable to be able to select this. And I don't know if that's because I've mapped something wrong. Pull this back up. Define NES buttons. Right, left, down, up. A is trigger, B is, I'm going to say this. Select there. Let's say start there. I don't need this, I don't need this. We'll say the zapper button is here, whatever that means. No. Okay. Start. There we go. Okay, and you should be able to see my crosshair like showing up on this. And the buttons that I chose to map seemingly are not letting me fire on the gun or on the ducks. Yeah, so you'll need to calibrate some stuff. Like it is technically tracking. It is seemingly not mapped correctly. Define NES buttons. Right, left, down, up. We'll say A and B. Select, start. I don't know what FDS is. Don't know what mic. We'll say zapper is the trigger. 12, no save states. Not this. Yeah, I'm not getting anything. What's in our input options? We could do Joy 2. Nope, that doesn't show this. Whatever. Vouse doesn't do it. Vouse A trigger. No tracking. Zapper mouse doesn't show the actual tracking either. And so like it seems like this is the one because I actually get the tracking. You see the cursor moving on it. But it's hit or miss. I have had better luck in the Saturn core trying to get stuff to work in there. Again, you saw it in Yoshi Safari. I think we have, let me see. What is Lethal Enforcers on? This might be is this a Super Nintendo game? Oh, this might be Sega Master System, and we haven't tried this one yet. So input, gun control, Joy 1, gunfire, we'll do a big cross. We'll pause when the OSD is open. We'll see if we can get this menu to show up enough to get F10, top, bottom, left, right. And then we will go in like we did on the others. I wish this was something I knew earlier. I'm sure so many things are messed up by this. We'll save and then we'll reboot. Okay. Yeah, I can go back to this view. I'm sorry. That would probably be easier for you to see. Okay, and then we will open this back up and say Lethal Enforcers, get that to launch. I'm using the MiSTer Remote to make this easier. And hopefully, I don't know why it's not launching the thing. Lethal Enforcers. Oh, right, this is dying. Lethal Enforcers USA. Okay. It said player 2. It doesn't seem great. And I'm not seeing the crosshairs. And I'm seeing no gameplay. So maybe Lethal Enforcers is not the one to do. Nothing there. Joy 2, does that give me anything different? Still don't see the crosshairs. Okay. Auto region. Priorities in place. What's another one that we have for... Is Operation Wolf a... Oh, this is like a Nintendo one. We'll see if this one lets me control stuff. Okay, so this one is taking my stick input, but not the light gun input. So I can move this around with the stick from the DualShock, or the GunCon 3, but I guess all in all, you will need to calibrate things with this. The GunCon 3 is cool that it works on so many things, but each core you'll have to designate the individual settings for, and it may be hit or miss. Another problem with this, and I don't know if there's a way around this, is that if you go in and set the settings for a core and save it, when you want to use a different controller, you'll have to overwrite those settings and then save it. And I kind of wish we could do something along the lines, maybe there's a way around it, to have like different configurations set, to say like, here are all the settings I want when I plug in a GunCon, or here are all the settings I want, and just let me view my save history of like what controllers to use, something in there to do it. It is really, really cool that it is possible, but it is a little more work than maybe some people will want to do. And I can already feel my back getting tired from hunching over and looking at this TV, trying to get it to like connect here. So let's see what else did I have on my list. Okay. I still had a request to see what WonderSwan would look like, so we can do that. One of the questions about WonderSwan was, could you do a WonderSwan game, which supposedly the WonderSwan, as far as I was told in the comments, output it at 75 hertz. And someone was wondering if you could output to a higher resolution like HDMI or VGA while also doing, let's see, console. Who makes the WonderSwan? While also doing this. So like, can you output at a upscaled resolution that would be presumably at 60 to get to monitors that are like divisible by 60, while also outputting at 75 hertz for like a CRT TV, which should supposedly be capable of reading that. So let's see. That says 60 hertz on all the TVs when that popped up. So it may be doing something to like connect them all there. Let's see. Let's see this. Will it show us in the corner what it's running at? I mean, it definitely is displaying on everything. Y'all can see it on every TV and the HDMI output I'm sending out here. So the WonderSwan seems to be fine. It is a little weird to me that in the corner it did say in the corner it did say that it was running at a specific hertz. Flipped hertz, interesting. Miscellaneous, rewind, orientation, audio, video. Okay, I can change it to 75 hertz. The Dell monitor is the only thing that treats that as a usable signal. It looks disgusting over here, but 75 hertz it does work, and it is outputting still in HDMI without it affecting it. It seems to only affect the analog outputs. And I can change it back to 60, and then it's fine with these. So there's something that's an interesting change to this. I didn't even think about the different rates there and what that would do, or the different hertz you can now put in. Okay, that one's done. Someone wanted to see the WonderSwan. Another thing was the GBA 2-player mode. So can I plug in a second controller? I should to get this. Actually, this PlayStation 1 might still be connected Bluetooth. So let me see. I will launch this from my remote as well and go. They wanted to see specifically Game Boy Advance 2-player with Advance Wars. I think they said 2. Let's do Advance Wars 2. And let's just see what we're seeing on all the different screens here. Let me turn this PlayStation controller on and make sure it reconnects here. Okay, so my 8BitDo controller currently is connected to the top screen. And this PS5 controller seems to be connected to the bottom screen. Possibly. Okay, yeah, there we go. I think. So we'll do versus. No, that might have been the B button I hit. Come on, PlayStation controller. 8BitDo one seems to connect fine. Not that. We'll do versus. We'll do new game there. Sure, Bean Island. We'll do that. Fog's on. And then God, I thought this was working a second ago. Let me get another controller and plug it in here. And let me reboot to see if it detects these controllers, because it sure isn't right now. I guess I should make sure. Does it have any controller settings on here? Not really. So I'll just save the settings and we'll reboot. I'll go back into Game Boy Advance 2-player and I will load GBA again, Advance Wars 2. I'm hitting start on the top one. I'm trying to hit start on this bottom one, but it is not connecting for me. Left, down, up, A, B, L, R, select start. Really doesn't want me to use this other controller, does it? Let me try the Sega Saturn plug-in controller. Okay, that one worked flawlessly. So yeah, maybe we do. Maybe some 8-bit controllers are 8BitDo controllers are having some issues. Okay, so we want link, I assume, and then link. Sorry, I hit the wrong button on this one. We'll do multi-pack. Press start. And as you can see, all the CRTs are copied to the exact same view. So what I should be able to do is go up here and do this. So now yeah, because you can see this woman is on the left here and she's on the right on the other TVs. And you can choose what audio is coming through. That's cool. Okay, so then I can do link here. multi-pack. There's player 1 and player 2. I will hit A on both these controllers or start on both of these. Yep, we're choosing Bean Island. We have the 2 different character select things. We have fog on. Okay, yeah, there we go. Who's my first player on here? I guess it's my 8-bit Do controller. Y'all, I don't know how to... I've never played this game before. So, Okay, so do these spawn in my little people? How much can I spend? Okay, and then I could end my turn. Okay. And now it's my Saturn controller. And I can go in... I can zoom in on one of these screens a little bit. Let's see. Okay, it's a little high on the view, but you can at least see that I do have both players in here, and I can be selecting my stuff. So you could play this. That is not the best TV to be looking at from this video one up here. Okay, there you go. There's your S video. But yeah, I can use this Saturn controller that I have plugged in here and move stuff around. So you could totally play analog and digital through here to get 2 different views, which is really cool. And you could even have like a pretty nice view because you could do VGA out or something to connect it to. Like you have so many output options on here that you could do to connect in. And okay, now it is the other players that's on this HDMI one. So I could go in and say, we're moving you down the road, moving you through the mountains. Oh, can I just cross all terrain? Okay. And then I can end this turn. I can pick up my other controller and go to day 2. This is very cool. That I don't know how many people will set up like 2 monitors back to back to play this. And like for any like multiplayer stuff, you can still go in and split the screen vertically, horizontal, however you want to do it, and decide who gets what view, which is very cool. So like this is the player 2 screen, or sorry, screen 1 is player 1, screen 2 is player 2, vertical split, horizontal split. That's really cool. The other core we have, we'll go ahead and do this. There's a Game Boy 2-player core as well. So in this one, I assume I had to have much of the same settings. Auto video. Maybe not. Huh. Let me load something up so I can actually see. So I had seen that Kirby Star Stacker had a 2-player link mode. Auto video, extra sprites. Huh, so this one, it seems like you cannot. Yeah, it doesn't seem like you can split this one. But I don't know how many games are like strategic secret games that you would need to... Okay, so versus. Okay, this is me playing with 2 D-pads, so I don't, I'm not even placing these things really. I'm just kind of messing with it. But yeah, this is cool. The Game Boy Advance one is way cooler. The fact that you can do it on 2 separate outputs and like change the split and everything, and you can't seem to do that in here unless it's buried in a setting that I didn't understand. It's really cool to see. And here, if we go back to this view, like it just outputs both of them split. I didn't see any options for even changing because the mapper. Video processing, but those would be filters. And you can do a separator line between them, but invert color. Yeah, that's cool. Nice palette. Sync video doesn't seem to. Oh, whoa. Yeah, you'll see the I go back to the default view, like that these filters never work for the analog views, but it's very cool that you can do that. And you'll notice maybe it's just the S-Video add-on this one doesn't work as well, but I'm only getting black and white on this S-Video monitor here. But if I zoom back out, it does have all of these. Some of them get color, some don't, depending on what the output is. So that's interesting. But yeah, 2-player cores on there was something someone asked for. DIN 10 remote. Someone was wondering if GunCon 1 worked while outputting via SCART. So that's, I guess, the last thing we need to test. It's been 4 hours already. Okay. Let me plug that in. So let me go back to here. So what I'm going to do with the GunCon 1 is I'm going to plug it into and I think this is where the question came from. It's like DIN 10 does not have a composite sync signal coming out of it. So there is a GunCon port on the left side of this. And so I should be able to plug in the yellow GunCon into this and play through PlayStation using the sync signal coming out of there. So we'll see if that works. Okay. The other wrinkle in this that is not, oh, well, I'm right in the camera there, aren't I? The other thing in here that is not ideal is that I don't have a TV that has SCAR output on it or SCAR input on it. So that's less than ideal. Let me go back to my menu here and pull up a light gun game in here. So what we'll have to be dealing with here is that I'm using a RetroTink, not a 4K scaler. I'm just using the straight adapter because I wanted to see if this changed anything with it, and I need to get it on the right TV, don't I? Why is it flipping around on S-Video all crazy there? Interesting. I don't remember having this like cycle like that on. There's the sRGB mode. That doesn't do anything for me. S-Video mode. Nope, it doesn't like that either. IPBR mode. Nope, we'll just go back to plain main. I could plug composite into that monitor and see if it stops doing that. And then this one, I need to change the input back to color stream. Okay, and this one has the weird colors, but this will probably not work because the CRT is doing some weird things, and maybe it's because I need to do composite out. And I can't really do composite out, can I? Because I'm using that for this other input. So that is a limitation of what I'm doing. The way I have this hooked up because I don't have a SCART input on my TV. So that's a problem that is purely my fault and will probably affect no one who actually wants SCART. So I'm going to see if does the GunCon even work on this? I guess that'd be the question. Does it get enough sync to even attempt to work? Because it shouldn't even fire if it doesn't have any sync, I believe. It should never fire straight forward, but it also may break because it's not getting the right sync. Let's see. Okay. Pull this up. Snac port, MultiTap. I don't think there was anything special we had to do with this because it was just Snac all the way and it was fine. Yeah, nothing there. We'll save that stuff. So it should be good, but I'm certainly not getting... Press start to play is not working on that. Wait. Is this loading what I wanted? No, this is just going back to the menu. Okay. So this I'm not sure on. I don't know why it's doing this. Let me switch over to composite out of the DIN 10 port to see if that functions. Because that should give the same result, that DIN 10 itself can output while light guns are getting sync. So we'll try that. I don't know what it is. Maybe something with Die Hard Arcade. Let me try a different game on here. What's the one we had a lot of luck with? That was the Point Blank. It's still doing that, Oh, old X cool, you need a justifier for this game. I thought the MiSTer could emulate the justifier if you had another controller in. I don't know if that is true or not, but... And I do not know why this is giving me such issues. Let me switch the memory card in this to the one that has the talkie image on it to see if that gives me any better luck. Okay. Oh, and I don't have the MiSTer remote set up for this one because this is like a cleaner image that should be closer to what came on the console, but with some games loaded on it. Just because I was troubleshooting some of this stuff for similar issues that I got last night when I was wondering why don't these light guns work anymore. So we'll see. Okay, it's not doing the rolling at least. We'll load this. I'm interested now if Die Hard Arcade. Do I still have it loaded up here? Or Die Hard Trilogy. No, I mean it must be something about that signal, right? Well, no, because we Point Blank, even when we tried it earlier, had a similar issue. I truly do not know why it would be doing this. Did I change? No, the NTSCU. Huh. Yeah, I don't remember seeing this with this core before. Because we definitely played Point Blank on this TV like just a couple days ago. I guess it could be that cable, but I tried S-Video. Are you aware that you're using a PAL ROM? No. Wow. Thank y'all. Okay, that makes more sense. I wonder, is there some setting to like connect those signals again and to get things like synced up? Is that a thing? And what I'm not doing is I seem to have lost my HDMI output. Did I do something with that? Okay, there we go. We're back here. Let me just confirm that the GunCon is still working. Oldzex Cool says, I'm sure that's why your screen is flipping because of the PAL. That is good to know. I should probably label these better to where it says PAL in very large block letters and reminds me not to even try that. Just to be safe, this one is labeled USA. So surely we're all connected here. Okay, and everything's hooked up there. And I should theoretically be able to use the GunCon. These are very similar to the same issues I had last night when I was trying to get this plain GunCon controller working again. That it just wouldn't after a certain point. And I am so unsure. This is probably my, like, I need to go to bed. I've been streaming too long. I ran into this yesterday when I was trying to test stuff. And it had a similar issue that sometimes it just wouldn't detect things. And that's when I wondered if I was using the right card or doing anything in there. I have the like fully original Talkie card. I can plug that in and see if that changes anything. But I truly don't know at some of these points if I'm doing something wrong to connect with this, because I have like rebooted it full to this, and there's some strange things there. But I think this is just part of the MiSTer process that you will need to troubleshoot things. This is the original SD card that came with this. I had modified it some, but tried to revert it back to what it was before. So I think this is as close as I get to this being like base input. I did see that Taki uploaded a like original image file, and I should probably flash this with that just to have like the, here's the most base version of this. So Snac port 1 and 2, real Snac memory card. Everything should be set there. And I guess I need to load a game, huh? We'll load this. And yeah, much like the me not realizing that I was in the, like, playing a PAL game on here, this could all be user error. It is just troubleshooting stuff that I sometimes am unsure what I'm doing wrong and how to adjust it. But yeah, it seems to just like not be doing it anymore. And then the thing I tested last night when I had the same issue was switching back to a normal PlayStation controller, which I can try that really quick. And when I encountered the issues last night when I just couldn't get it to like detect
the Snac GunCon at all for the life of me. I just went in and cold reboot. Or sorry, I didn't do full. Let's do full cold. Completely shut it down and back up. And then we will go to console. We will go to PSX. We will go load something simple like CTR. And I have just a plain PlayStation 1 controller plugged in. Nothing special. Let's just make sure this Snac still works. Because I was getting weird results last night when I was trying this that were kind of making me second guess my sanity. But as is tonight, it is late and I am probably just glossing over something I should be doing different.
Start your engines for a Sony Computer Entertainment America production. Fasten your seatbelts
So
for another
I am hitting start select all these buttons.
creation.
And I'm getting nothing. Again, I don't know if I'm loopy from just streaming too long, but this is exactly what happened last night when I was testing stuff. That at some point along the way, I just lost all access to Snac in general, and it just seems to stop working. Let me try plugging the MultiTap back in because I had better luck with that. And see if this connects. My Bluetooth controller, or whatever, 2.4 gigahertz 8-bit Dell controller has had no issues so far with connecting to anything, but I don't know. The Snac and the memory card port, those have given me the most issues out of anything. Snac port 1, Snac port 2, memory card real. None of that's changed. It was exactly what we had it at before. I guess we could define PSX buttons, but I don't even think that worked. Yeah, that doesn't do anything when you do the when you have a Snac controller. Okay, canceling that. I'm gonna load back up CTR and just see if this works this time. I did a full, just completely shut it down, did everything. We're now going through the Snac port on the front to the MultiTap port 1 to see if that bypasses anything that's like getting funky. I don't know why it would, because we're still going Snac port to Snac port just like the controller was, but
Start your engines for a Sony Computer Entertainment America production.
and same thing, I'm just getting nothing.
Fasten your seatbelts for another multi-dog creation.
So that's a strange thing for me. I've tried multiple different memory cards with like various versions of this, and just sometimes the Snac ports just don't work for me. So that's strange. Hopefully this is only me having these issues, and it is most likely due to user error. I need to flash one of these back to the original Taki version that he shared and see if that fixes anything to make this like a little more dependable. But I mean, we did get what, 4 hours and 20 minutes of using Snac adapters and various things and had no issues, and now it's kind of cropping up. So this room may be too hot. that could be something affecting it. I'm truly at a loss for what the issue would be here.
and I guess we'll end it there on kind of a dour note that I didn't want to end on. But yeah, largely it's still great. All the things we tested today were really fun and like things I was excited to test and try and work with, and it still works with all that stuff. Like looking through the list, we tested that wheel controller, we tested the fishing control, the arcade stick, the memory card via MultiTap, the PocketStation kind of, the NeoGeo with the arcade stick. The wheel controller didn't really work on anything else. The Saturn 3D controller did not work through the reflex adapter, but it didn't have a setting for it, and it probably needs one to be able to do that. Sorry, that TV was playing the gameplay loud. We did several things at GunCon 3. The accuracy of it seems a little suspect, mainly because it was slightly off, maybe due to my calibration, maybe due to my positioning of the sensors, but you could see that in the Sega Saturn core for sure. The remote MiSTer script, still really like that. That's really cool. I think we kind of tested DIN 10 that it could at least output all the different resolutions while doing that. But what I couldn't get to work was the GunCon 1 at all because the Snac port seems to have failed me for tonight. So I'm unsure on that. GBA 2-player, we showed that. Game Boy 2-player. And the WonderSwan showing that the 75 hertz does seemingly output, but none of these TVs accept it, maybe, is what to take out of that. And I think that's everything. And yeah, we had I took it off the thing, but I have the 3D printed screen that attaches to the back of this. So that's a cool thing. I'll try to put the, I think it's cool. Try to put the files out sometime soon just to share if anybody wants to mess with that. I understand it is extremely niche. It was mainly because I had this screen laying around for the, what Ken's making Pocket MiSTer project that he'd worked on at some point. So I was just trying to recreate some of that and see what I could do to get it hooked up. And it's cool. Do you want to use it? It's a tiny screen, maybe not, but I always liked the little attachments to the GameCube and everything, so I think it's cool. But yeah, I think we've tested quite a bit. I'm sorry things fell apart at the end, but also things fell apart at the end and I don't know how to fix them. So we'll see maybe tomorrow. I did leave this thing off overnight and it all worked today for the stream. So who knows? Who knows what I'm doing wrong here or what's going on? But it is a MiSTer. I could do the same troubleshooting and issues with this multi-system sitting next to me. I have had similar issues with this of having to reset the any settings and go back there. So I think it all is just growing pains of me getting up to speed with the MiSTer, things you may encounter, and things to look for and troubleshoot. Thanks to everybody who's been in here, like giving advice and troubleshooting with me in here. That's been really helpful. Yeah, I think that's it. If anybody has anything else they want to see from this, let me know. If the console menu comes out, if new features get added, if I find something new and cool that the MiSTer does that I wasn't aware of, y'all probably are, I'll share that. That's mainly what I've been doing these streams for, is when there's something neat coming out. There have been a lot of updates to the Analog 3D lately that I've been interested in checking out, so maybe we'll do something with that in the future. But yeah, thanks to everybody who's watched some or all of this, especially thank you to that. I will put timestamps and everything in after this video goes up. It always takes me a little bit to edit that through YouTube's player for the live stream things. So that might take me a few days, but I'll try to put timestamps. And then, yeah, if you have things you want to see from this, let me know. If you get yours in and just want to chat about stuff you've been playing that's cool, definitely let me know. I will be playing this on my own time and want to see what everybody's doing and spend more time with it and everything. So I hope all of you waiting on your SuperStations get them soon, enjoy them, and then hopefully we'll see Doc soon after that. So really excited for this. This room is a mess, but it's been fun to do this stuff and test all these random things all over my desk and floor. So thanks everybody for sticking around. If there's new stuff to show, I'll do another stream in the future. If not, have fun with your SuperStations, and I'll see y'all another time. So thanks for watching. I will see y'all next time.